The team is the Miami Dolphins, but for the past 16 years, the man in Miami has been Dan Marino. He has set NFL records in nearly every career passing category, but a Super Bowl victory has eluded him. In his second professional season, he took the Dolphins to the Super Bowl, but hasn't been back since, and his ultimate goal still remains a dream. The unlikely hero in Buffalo this year has been quarterback Doug Flutie. It was Flutie who threw the winning pass on the most famous Hail Mary play in college football history, and who has won the Canadian League's title game 3 times. Now he's back in a National Football League playoff game for the first time in 12 years. It's the wild card playoffs, and although Doug Flutie has come down a far different path than has Dan Marino, they lead their teams against one another in today's first step on the road to the Super Bowl. It's the Miami Dolphins and the Buffalo Bills in an AFC wild card playoff. 70s Pro Player Stadium sold out for today's wild card playoff game between Miami and Buffalo. Al Michaels with Dan Dierdorf and Boomer Esiason. When the season began, the Buffalo Bills with new head coach Wade Phillips started 0-3, but then a resounding win against San Francisco got them rolling. A couple of weeks later, the magic of Doug Flutie took over, and all of a sudden a rebuilding year becomes a playoff year. They come in as the number 5 seed in the AFC. The Miami Dolphins started the season 3-0, had aspirations to win the AFC East, but 2 losses to the New York Jets along the way did them in. They've been inconsistent down the stretch. Need to win 3 games to get to the Super Bowl, which will be played here on January 31st, but at least, Dan, one of those 3 is at home, and that can make a big difference.
Well, they love it here at Pro Player Stadium, Al. 7-1, and it's already been documented. The reason they're 7-1 at home, they only give up 10 points a game here, and it's because this is the best defense in the league as far as allowing points scored. They're leading the NFL, and they are going to be the determining factor how far into the playoffs the Miami Dolphins go. They are young, they are very fast, and they are very aggressive on the corners. And if we have a premier matchup today, it's Buckley and Madison against Moulds and Andre Reed from the Buffalo Bills. If they throttle that passing attack, Miami feels that they'll win the game. Defensively, Boomer, Buffalo's pretty good as well.
Hey, the Bills can bring it too. You know, they're number 6 overall in the NFL on defense, but with Phil Hansen, one of their defensive ends, out, and a young, inexperienced secondary due to injury, hey, if I'm Miami, forget the running game, start throwing the ball, and that's where the onus now has to be put on Bruce Smith, the great pass rusher of the Buffalo Bills. He has to put pressure on Dan Marino. Dan Marino now, all of a sudden, has confidence in his young wide receivers. If the Miami Dolphins today, Al, are going to win, I think it's going to be through the air with Dan Marino finding those wide receivers.
And if he plays the way he did in that Monday night game 12 nights ago, they've got a great chance to win. Buffalo and Miami coming up.
Back at Pro Player Stadium, this is the second time the Dolphins have faced Doug Flutie at quarterback. Jimmy, what are you going to do to contain him? And are your defensive back, as Flutie says, going to be holding and tugging their receivers?
Well, obviously, Flutie was trying to talk to the officials on that. But, you know, it's difficult to contain Flutie, but I think if we remain in our coverage, even when he gets out of the pocket, I think we'll be fine.
See if it happens. Thanks a lot, Jimmy. Back to you, Al.
Thank you, Leslie. Doug Flutie will get the ball because Buffalo will receive. Commentary for today's game can also be heard in Spanish by pressing the SAP button on your remote. Olindo Mare to kick off. Cloudy here in Miami. It rained hard but briefly early this morning. Field in good condition. Kevin Williams back to return the kickoff, and wild card weekend is underway. Fielded at the goal line and a fake handoff, and that doesn't fool the Dolphins special teams as he gets tackled up at the 17-yard line. Coming down to make the hit, Ihani Owezuke, the former San Francisco 49er. Doug Flutie, who began the year as the backup to Rob Johnson. Johnson suffered a rib injury against Indianapolis early in the season. Doug came in, led them to a victory, led them to that tremendous and thrilling win against Jacksonville. Smith and Gash in the backfield, Moulds and Reed outside. Johnson, the tight end, get to the line in a moment. At the 17-yard line, first down. Crowd already in full throat as Flutie goes to the air, going deep from Moulds. He's been their big play man all season long, and Moulds loses the football. It's caused by Buckley, picked up by Marion at the 10. Here comes Brock. back to the 30, and Marion goes down. What a way to begin the game. No flag.
Oh, man.
Eric Moulds is a guy who has averaged 49 yards per touchdown catch, and it looked again as if he'd be off to the races for another huge one from 83. But the ball is jarred loose by Buckley, who'd been beaten. And now Miami gets the ball.
Dan, you said it. This is the matchup to look at right here. Moulds gets on top of Buckley and really does a nice job of pushing away and getting the ball. But Buckley, to his credit, stays with the play and actually hits the ball out from underneath. That's going to be some battle as the day wears on.
Well, Terrell Buckley may have got out of it, Boomer, by causing the turnover. But when he's over on the sideline, he knows he was beaten. Whether it alters the way he plays or not, we'll find out.
Now Marino hands off on first down to Abdul-Jabbar for a 12-yard pickup. And that's an auspicious beginning. Abdul-Jabbar has suffered 2 concussions in the last 3 weeks, and they held him out of last weekend's game in Atlanta. Dan Marino, not a bad season, all things considered. He's had better, but 23 touchdowns, 15 picks. Abdul-Jabbar and Pritchard in the backfield. Thomas and McDuffie outside. Drayton, the tight end. Richmond Webb has been out a lot the second half of the year, but in today with Smith, Ruddy, and Donnelly having a great year, and James Brown. First down at the 41-yard line. In the opening moments of a wild card game. Marino under pressure throws and hits Abdul-Jabbar. Sought the safety valve over the middle. Gets him at the 46-yard line. Pressure put on by Marcellus Wiley. They're missing Phil Hansen up front. Wiley will take his place. The Bills play a 3-4. Wiley, Washington, terrific on the nose, and of course the great Smith. Rogers, Hollisek, Howard, a good-looking rookie, and Northern. Irvin and Jackson are the corners. Henry Jones and Kurt Schultz are the safeties. Thomas Smith is gone. He's a great cornerback. And again, with Hansen gone, they are minus 2 very key defensive people. 2nd and 5 from the 46-yard line. Abdul-Jabbar. And a good beginning to the running game. Stanley Pritchard takes the carry that time. Pritchard out of the backfield across the 50 to the 49, and that's enough for a first down. And there is Phil Hansen, the defensive end. They hope to have him back if they continue in the playoffs at some point.
Yeah, Phil's got a bad knee and not able to go today. He's got some limited movement coming back. And again, if they advance into the playoffs, hopeful for next week.
And Phil's the type of player that is just relentless, 100%, never takes a play off. And Marcellus Wiley is going to have a difficult game filling in for Phil Hansen.
And only 5 defensive linemen suited up for Buffalo today.
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar played his college football at UCLA under the name of Sharman Shaw. Tackled by Sam Rogers.
I'm sorry, Al, you say 5, but you take a look at Ted Washington in the middle. He's worth a good 2 at least, isn't he?
Well, when you look at the size of Ted Washington, listed at 325, he blew by that in the 6th grade.
Absolutely. Look at him. Boy, is he's a house in the middle.
It could not be hot enough and it could not be humid enough today to suit Jimmy Johnson. He would like the big guy in the middle to get worn down as this game progresses.
But right now it is not that warm. No. Abdul-Jabbar is split this time, wide right. Marino out of the shotgun throws, and it is caught by Drayton, who had to reach behind him. The tight end makes the catch at the 41. It'll be 3rd and 5, tackled by Hollisek and Rogers.
You talked a little bit about the inexperience of the secondary of the Buffalo Bills. One way to exploit that is to spread out like this and have no backs in the backfield and just take your pick where you want to throw the football. And Drayton does a nice job of concentrating and making the play.
Jimmy told us yesterday that we should look for Drayton to have a big part in the Dolphins passing game today. He thinks that he'll be open.
Drayton this season caught 30 balls. Parmalee in the backfield along with Marino. And Dan throws, and it's caught at the 39, and McDuffie reaches for the first down, and the man who led the league in receptions with 90 gets it, tackled by Henry Jones.
And he gets it because of that effort. O.J. stretching out before he went down, placed the football across the line as we look at Ted Cottrell, the defensive coordinator for Buffalo, but keep in mind that their head coach was a longtime defensive coordinator. Look at this effort, though, at the end of this thing, Boomer, by McDuffie.
Really has a sense of awareness, instincts as to where the first down marker is, and makes a great play just stretching the ball out there and getting that first down.
Marino 3 for his first 3 for 15. First down, Miami at the Buffalo 38. Marino, great protection, throws high and incomplete, intended for McDuffie, who had 30 receptions the first half of the season and then 60 over the second half.
Well, end up with 90, which led the National Football League in a strange year where we had no triple-digit receiver this year. O.J. McDuffie with 90 ends up being the hardest working man in showbiz.
And how about the passing game for the Dolphins early on was basically anemic, and now it's ranked 10th in the league, and I think that has a lot to do with Dan Marino getting confidence in his young receivers and throwing balls now that he wouldn't do earlier in the year.
On 2nd and 10, that's Nate Jaquette coming in motion. Abdul-Jabbar gets rolled down as he crosses the 35-yard line. Polasek is the first guy to hit him there. It'll be 3rd down and 7.
Nate Jaquette, a guy that finally feels, I guess, he's going to stay for a while. He was wearing number 19. And
that's not a good sign.
No, it's not a good sign when you're wearing number 19, and then they gave him a grown-up number. Now he's wearing number 88.
That's exactly right.
He's one of the big guys now. Get his own locker and everything.
Ball just inside the 34-yard line.
You see all the pointing going on there. Really, all the quarterback is doing is setting the offensive pass protection against the defense of the Buffalo Bills, and who's blocking who.
4-man rush, pass is caught, but then Drayton, with a great second effort, was down, gets up, and then is able to pick up the first down, it appears, from here before he's tackled.
Going to be close.
Drayton going to the ground to come up with it, then getting up. Mike Carey is the referee, and he says, move those chains.
Well, twice now this drive, Dolphins have ended up moving the chains because of second effort. First McDuffie, and this time Drayton.
You had to wonder coming into this game what was going to be the mindset of the Miami Dolphin players after getting hammered last week.
Let's look where Drayton's knee goes down here the second time. I think that's a very fortunate spot for the Miami Dolphins. It looked like his knee came down behind the marker.
This is the 10th play of the drive. Abdul-Jabbar goes nowhere. Tackled at the 34-yard line by John Polasek, who's already been in on 4 plays.
They got hammered by the Atlanta Falcons last week, and Jimmy Johnson said there were a lot of extenuating circumstances leading up to that. First and foremost, his mother passed away last week. He missed the practice. He had his team practicing in sweats, which is never a good thing, but coaches always want an excuse,
right?
For his team, and he took the onus on himself last week.
I think one of the excuses is that Atlanta's a better football team than Miami.
No, but he's not going to tell you that, and he certainly won't tell his team.
2nd and 10 with 3 receivers split to the left, and the pass is thrown underneath to McDuffie, who's covered by Jones, and it'll be 3rd down and 10.
But they've seemed to come out today at least with a little more excitement and a little bit more inspiration as opposed to last week.
Well, I should hope so. This is playoff football.
Right, and you could see it in the way that they're making plays right here, even with a balloon.
A balloon on the field. If it's not tough enough for Henry Jones, he's having to fight through a balloon to get in on the play.
Clearly left over from a New Year's Eve pass. 3rd down and 10 from the 28.
Did you bring it with you?
No, I don't think so. Not today. Maybe a deflated one. On 3rd and 10, it is caught at the 20-yard line by Drayton, and that's close to a first down. The officials coming in right there at the 18-yard line, moves it back a few inches, and that's going to make it a very close measurement.
One of the reasons that Jimmy Johnson probably said that Drayton was going to have a big day today is when they split him out like this, you could see they leave him uncovered and they blitz a linebacker, and all he does is go up and turn around and find the hole in the zone. And Dan Marino throws the football before he turns around and gets it.
When you blitz Marino like that, Boomer, as we all know, with that release of his, in a way you're kind of playing, if he's got the receivers heady enough to make their adjustments, he will get rid of the football.
And again, it goes back to him gaining confidence as the season has gone on.
With red zone, far more so than most other teams in the league. And they're there now inside the 20. Halfway through the opening period. They begin on the ground, and Abdul-Jabbar gets smacked back at the 19 by the rookie Sam Coward out of Florida State. When the Dolphins get into the red zone, Ted Cottrell, the defensive coordinator, knows all of the numbers, and they're reflected in that panel right there. They run 42% of the time, throw the ball 58% of the time, and they're the 3rd most pass-oriented team in the league, only behind the Packers and the Colts.
strength of the quarterback has something to do with that, but aggressive for the Colts with a rookie at quarterback.
On 2nd and 10, Marino surveying, guns, and it's incomplete for Drayton. The defender had fallen down. Drayton had gotten free. Sam Rogers, the linebacker, went out with him and fell down, and Drayton just couldn't get there.
Really nice play this time that the Miami Dolphins know that the Bills are going to play man coverage. They send Drayton in the flat, and then he just runs flat and up right here. It's something that you could call right on your playing with your kids out in the street, run a flat and up, and that's what it is. And Danny, all he has to do is pull the string a little bit. Just float it out there. Try not to be so perfect with the pass. He wants that one back. That was on him.
3rd down and 10. The Dolphins have converted each of their 3 third down opportunities on this drive. Danny over the middle. That's caught at the 15-yard line by Aranda Gadsden, well short of the first down, and the field goal unit to come in.
Dan, if I'm impressed with something, I'm impressed with the fact that they can hold out Bruce Smith that whole series, not one pressure.
I'm impressed for Miami in the sense that they are going to now have an attempted field goal at the conclusion of what looked like catastrophe with that completion to Moulds by Buffalo in the first play of the game.
Game started with Buffalo had it for the first play, and Miami's had it the rest of the way. The rest of the way is almost 9 minutes. This is a 32-yard attempt by Olindo Mare, and he gives Miami the early lead. So a long drive. They come up with 3. 6:07 left, opening period in Miami. Dolphins 3, Bills nothing. Moulds fumbled on the first offensive play of the afternoon for the Buffalo Bills. Bruce Smith and his defensive unit were on the field for almost 9 minutes, and Miami leads 3-0 on a Mare field goal. Mare to kick off, and the ball fell off. Short kick, fielded at the 15 by Kevin Williams. Back with the 29. He's tackled there by Brian Walker. 5:58 left in the opening period. Miami 3, Buffalo nothing. Arizona and the Orange Bowl tonight. Buffalo down 3-0 from the 29-yard line. They begin with Flutie out of the shotgun in a 5-receiver set. From the vacant backfield, Doug throws, and the pass is a little bit low, but it is caught there by Andre Reed in his 14th season at a touchdown, still playing brilliantly. Offensively, the line, Fina, Nails for the injured Brown, Ziegler, Panos, and Ostrowski. Jamie Nails doing a nice job replacing Reuben Brown, who's so good that he's going to the Pro Bowl as a starter. Miami's defense, Burton, Bowens, Gardner, and Mixon up front. Bowens goes to the Pro Bowl. Rogers, Thomas, and Jones are the backers. Buckley and Madison the corners. Jackson and Marion are the safeties. Buckley and Madison each intercepted 8 passes this season, but neither goes to Hawaii. 1st and 10 from the 39-yard line, and they give the ball to Antoine Smith. And if you haven't followed the Bills closely this year, Antoine Smith is now clearly the #1 guy. He carried the ball 300 times. The great Thurman Thomas is the change-up man, the third down guy, and the mentor for Antoine Smith.
Doug Flutie told us last night how important Thurman Thomas has been to him, helping him set pass protections in the backfield in their shotgun formations, and just what he's meant to them on 3rd down and even in big play situations.
And in the passing situation here, Thurman is in the game. Thomas lined up behind Flutie on 2nd down and 9. Flutie taken off. And Doug slides to a hold at the 46, and that's a 1st down, something he has been doing since he was at Boston College.
He's just got such great instincts when he drops back. And, you know, we were talking to him last night, and I was asking him, you know, when you drop back in the pocket, how do you see guys? He says, well, you know, my pre-snap reads are really the key for me because I can get a sense of what the defense is doing. And right here, his pre-snap read was that they were in man coverage, meaning nobody's covering him. So he knows if his player's not open, he can take off with the football.
There is Reuben Brown, the left guard of the Buffalo Bills. As Al mentioned, going to the Pro Bowl for the 3rd time, one of the most dominating offensive linemen in the league.
They blitzed. Flutie rolling the other way. A little dump off like a shot put to Smith. And Antoine Smith is a guy who has caught 5 passes all year. So you talk about an improvisation. Yeah, 5 during the regular season. 300 carries, 5 pass receptions. But there was one right there.
Well, and of course, if you're Miami, you're going to pay no attention to him whatsoever. If you're George Hill putting together your plan, you're not taking him into consideration. And he's probably number 5 on Flutie's checkdown list. But there he was.
You're liable to see anything from number 7 out here today.
1st and 10 from the 34. 3.5 to go in the period. 3-0 Dolphins. And this is Thomas. So they're moving Smith and Thomas in and out, in and out. Gain of a couple. 2nd down. Let's go to Leslie Visser. Leslie.
Al, Doug Flutie said moments before he took the field, this is what you play for, single elimination. He said that ironically he could have been a Bill back in 1985. Buffalo had the first pick of the draft. They told him they weren't going to take him. He went to the USFL, but they did pretty well. They took Bruce Smith. Al.
I wish they would have taken Doug Flutie.
There is Bruce Smith. Doug played with the New Jersey Generals and played with the Chicago Bears, we recall. In fact, started a playoff game 12 years ago, 1986 against Washington. Smith swings to the outside. Behind Gash, and our first flag of the game comes in. Zach Thomas with the tackle, and Mike Carey will tell us about the call.
I think Boomer was speaking for every quarterback in football that he wishes they would have taken Flutie and Bruce Smith would have gone to Canada and never come back. Right?
Exactly right. Boy.
Instead, Bruce Smith is going to the Hall of Fame because of punishing guys like you.
I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Offense, number 84, 10 yards. It's still 2nd down.
Lonnie Johnson.
The interesting thing, I was reading the paper here locally today, and they were talking about Bruce Smith and his sacks against Dan Marino, and he says, look, you know, I've taken it easy on Dan Marino. I don't give him that little extra oomph. I don't know what I did to make this guy angry because I got a lot of oomph from him. Too much oomph.
He oomphed you right out of a couple games, didn't he?
Sure did.
3-0 in regular season starts against Marino is Flutie, and it's the only guy that Dan has faced that often whom he has not defeated. After the penalty now, 2nd and 20 from the 44. And Flutie for Moles, but too far. Moles that time covered by Sam Madison. 3rd and 20. This wild card playoff game is being brought to you by Ford Taurus. Ford, built to last. Budweiser, now is the perfect time to enjoy a fresh, cold, Beechwood-aged Budweiser. Morgan Stanley. 3rd down and 20 from the 44. Crowd roaring. Flutie for Moles, and that's tipped incomplete. Good coverage that time. Sam Madison got a hand on it. You talk about drawing a crowd. There were 4 Dolphins in the neighborhood.
And Madison versus Flutie, one of the really good stories here this afternoon. As Al mentioned, Doug working the officials, talking about how Madison and Buckley clutch and grab. Madison's reaction is he's too short to see over the line of scrimmage, and if he bothers to come downfield, we're going to tackle him and stuff some Flutie flakes down his throat.
He said throat. It was reported as throat.
Yes.
Well, it's, you know, it's a nice friendly rivalry we got going on here.
This is Chris Moore to punt. High
nice
floating kick. Fair catch called for and made. And contact is made at the 10-yard line. That was McDuffie hauling it in. Porter made contact, but the officials say no big deal.
Too is Darryl Porter, the former catcher for the Royals and the Cardinals, as he gets knocked into McDuffie there by Patrick Surtain. That's why no flag.
Dan, very good. A baseball historian.
Yes, sir.
Thomas Smith, the cornerback, and he's a terrific defensive back, but not only inactive today, but probably with a knee injury. Even if they were to make it to the Super Bowl, they're not counting on him. Flutie and Joe Pendry going over some pictures on the sideline as Marino takes over at the 11-yard line on 1st down. They begin on the ground. Abdul-Jabbar bolts forward to the 20-yard line, and that's a 9-yard pickup, setting up a 2nd and 1.
No, it seems to me, Dan, that one of the reasons that the Dolphins obviously want to run it is to take some of the pressure off of Dan Marino, but I think it's also to kind of pound a little bit at Ted Washington and make him get up and make him fight. And right now he's leaving the field. It looks like he's got dinged a little bit, but I would think that's a pretty good strategy going into the early part of this football game.
And they've got Donnelly, their best run blocker at right guard, back in the lineup, and Richmond Webb returns at left tackle. Huge pluses for Miami.
Pat Williams replaces Washington, and that's a first down. And again, moving through the middle on 2nd down and 1 is Abdul-Jabbar.
And one of the things we are saying is that the Dolphins are running right. They're running away from number 78, Bruce Smith. And you can see right here, he's got to fight a double team. And, you know, this is what you do to great football players. You don't leave him on an island one-on-one with players that are not of his caliber. So you try to get 2 guys on him, and it takes a great football player like Bruce Smith to fight both of those guys off and make the tackle.
Meanwhile, Troy Drayton is on his way back to the locker room right now, the starting tight end for the Dolphins. Frank Wainwright is in here. And in the waning moments of the period, there is a flag thrown and interference up at the 39. Lamar Thomas, the receiver, covered by Ken Irvin.
They're going to call pass interference on number 27, Irvin. Now the discussion is whether or not the ball was catchable, I believe.
The ball looked to be well out of bounds.
You can watch Irvin here, 5 yards. Well, you can't do that.
No.
You got to let him go.
No, and the ball wasn't well out of bounds. That was a good throw and a good catch by Thomas, but you're right, rode him well beyond the 5-yard limit. Gotta wipe off my glasses.
Defense, number 27.
From here, it looked like that ball sailed out of bounds. Oh, I know. Good, absolutely a good catch by Thomas.
On that forehead of yours.
Oh, here we go.
12-yard penalty.
It's worrying about what you're going to say. That's what's doing it.
From the 35-yard line, Abdul-Jabbar. You'll notice that he just has the Abdul on the back of his shirt because he was sued by the other Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, basketball's Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. And as part of a settlement out of court, he agreed that he would only wear Abdul on the back of his jersey, and there's no report as to whether he'll be sued by Paul Abdul now. But
so
anyway.
Can I sue Chris Berman then for using Boomer?
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm going after him, baby.
Absolutely.
That means
the verdict is unanimous.
It's happening.
And you'll get sued by Arliss.
That's the end of the quarter. Miami 3, Buffalo nothing. Back we come after this message and a word from our ABC stations.
Coming up next, it's an NFC East Wildcard showdown. The Arizona Cardinals make their playoff debut when they meet Troy Aikman and the Dallas Cowboys. That's next on ABC.
Dolphins, and Ted Washington is back in the game. The nose tackle, number 92, right over the center now, as Miami and Marino have a 2nd down and 9 from the 36-yard line. Troy Drayton, the tight end, ankle sprain, back in the locker room for the moment. Swing pass caught by Abdul-Jabbar. And he's taken down at the 35-yard line by Gabe Northern. First quarter numbers. The big story, of course, would be the turnover on the opening play when Moulds fumbled. And then Miami was able to take it down and get 3. Jimmy Johnson knows all about turnovers in the playoffs. Very simple right there in postseason games, and most of those, of course, as the coach of the Cowboys. 7-0 with fewer turnovers. 0-2 if you're on the minus side.
A great equalizer, and the Bills were +11, 3rd in the NFL in turnover ratio this year, so uncharacteristic by Eric Moulds and the Buffalo Bill offense.
3rd and 10 from the 35. Marino slipping out, throws over the middle, finds the open man in Bills territory. Ed Perry, the number 2 tight end, in a first down. So a 3rd and 10, a big conversion all the way to the Buffalo 43.
On the depth chart, Ed Perry is the number 2 tight end, but as far as the passing game is concerned, he's barely number 2. He had 25 receptions on the year to Drayton's 30. And This is why. He's good in space for such a big guy. Sits down, finds the open area. And I love the way he looked it in, and then look what happens here. He ends up 6 or 7 yards beyond where he was first contacted by a Buffalo DB.
22-yard gain. Dolphins 1st and 10 at the 43-yard line. To the ground again. Abdul-Jabbar running well early on. Picks up about 6. Abdul-Jabbar, the last time we saw him, that Monday night game 2 weeks ago against the Denver Broncos 15 carries for 5 yards. That's a bad night.
But a different offensive line in front of him this week. You know, when you look back to that Denver game, I mean, it was a lot of throwing that game, but now they have Donnelly back, they have Richmond Webb back, they have a little bit more cohesion on that offensive line, is certainly going to help a running back.
And in a great case of covering for your teammates, Dan Marino threw 4 touchdown passes.
Yeah, not a bad deal.
Yeah, if you can't run, at least you can pass.
3 of those to Lamar Thomas. 2nd down and 4. Marino pump fakes and then gets wrestled down. Marcellus Wiley spins him down at the 46-yard line.
Oh, and gently places him down too.
It's a designer sack.
Dan Marino talking to some of his offensive cohorts, telling them he did not really appreciate the Gucci placement that he received right now.
I don't know, is this respect or is it just that Marcellus got back there and really didn't have a chance to. Dan kind of went down a little easy too. Maybe Marcellus didn't want to get down and get dirty.
That was gentle. That was gentle.
Very gentle.
Marcellus was very kind.
And a gentler world. 3rd down and 11 as Marino fires and contact is made, and here comes the flag. Kirk Schultz hit Rhonda Gadsden a half-second too early, to the dismay of Wade Phillips, but it's going to go against Buffalo.
From here, it looked like it was the correct call. Schultz just trying to make a beat on the player and got there right before the ball arrived. And you got to kind of quell your aggressiveness a little bit when you're back there. You just have to try to time it a little bit.
Defense, number 40, automatic. 1st down, snap.
You talk about huge plays in a game, and this certainly is one. You can see Kirk Schultz just getting to Gadsden right before the ball gets there.
Well, and he grabs his left arm and just pins it to his side. It's all timing when you're a safety, making that hit across the middle.
2nd pass interference call against Buffalo. Pat Williams in place of Washington here, 1st down from the 30-yard line. And tackled right at the line of scrimmage. So Williams, the man replacing the Pro Bowl bound Washington, makes the hit.
That's about as hard as Kareem Abdul-Jabbar has been hit all day. That was a solid tackle by Williams. And again, this is a story we've got to watch as this game goes on. The longer Miami keeps the ball, and here they are now in the midst of another long drive. Only 5 defensive linemen today suited up for Buffalo. Out comes the sun. The field is wet. It's going to be very humid, and it's getting warmer.
2nd and 10 from the 30. 3-0 Miami early in the 2nd quarter. Marino throws, miscommunication there because going down the sideline was Owezike, and he's a guy who's only been here for a few weeks, the former 49er. He's going to the end zone, and Marino's throwing outside. 3rd and 10.
I just saw Dan Marino. So I'm sorry, go ahead.
Well, here it is, Boomer. ABC wants to congratulate that segue.
You are hot.
Really, actually, Dan Marino said, hey, it was my fault. I think Owezike did run the right route.
3rd down and 10. And that is caught over the middle and rolled down is Ed Perry. He lost the ball, but after the play had been whistled dead. So it's still Miami's ball at the 23, and Mate's going to come in to attempt about a 40-yard field goal.
Wade arguing for the fumble, but
Perry just got leveled.
Let's see if Wade has a legitimate argument. Let's check out the knees of Ed Perry. It's hard to see. His back was to us before the ball came out. He got spun around and took a real shot.
Dan Brandenburg, number 96, just laid into him.
40-yard attempt for Orlando Mate, who's made a 31-yarder. And this kick is good. Orlando Mate has accounted for all of the scoring in the game with 10:36 left in the first half. 6-0 Miami. Out there a lot early in this game, and Mate, as he attempted it, I don't know if he attempted that on purpose or not, but the Bills come up with the ball. It's Dan Brandenburg.
No way that was attempted. That was something that came off of his off the tee.
Bruce DeHaven is the special teams coach. Another peek here. Oof.
Maybe it was attempted.
He's been known to do that before.
Could you kick it that bad on purpose?
explain in a second. Take another look at this onside kick.
Look to the left side of your screen. Some of the Dolphins swinging that direction as if they were anticipating that onside kick.
And guys blocking downfield like it was an onside kick.
My guess is that was intentional. But boy, what a gamble. Look at Buffalo's field position.
Tremendous. The ball at the 42-yard line as Flutie puts it on his hip. Great protection. Finds Moles. Has him at the 6-yard line. Moles gets free despite being doubled. First and goal. Got inside Buckley.
My statement is why? Why even try that? I mean, your defense is holding down the Buffalo offense for the most part. And on this particular play, if Doug just lets it go and flies out there, it's going to be a touchdown. He underthrows the ball severely.
Well, the NFL Competition Committee even talked about this last fall. Let's take another look at the Moles catch right here.
You can see if Doug just lays it out there, Moles can go and get it, but he underthrows him, and instead of being a touchdown, the ball's on the 5-yard line.
First and goal from the 5. Moles 2 catches for 102 yards, but the other one resulted in a fumble. Out of the eye, they give it to Smith following Gash. And Smith moves the pile to the 1-yard line. On that Mate kick, Tony Franklin came up with it earlier years ago, where he would hit the top of the ball and drive it into the ground. And in fact, the competition committee looked at it because, along with special teams coach Mike Westhoff, the Dolphins were able to obviously confuse the opposition.
It's just an enormous gamble on the part of the Miami Dolphins at home with a 6-point lead, and you're keeping the football away from the other team. That's a big risk.
Meanwhile, here's Thurman Thomas trying to get in on 2nd and goal, and does. Thurman Thomas into the end zone for the touchdown.
Well, so much for that lead.
Yeah, I still go back and say, what are they thinking about? I understand that you're trying to create something, but there's really no reason for you to create something, and you certainly don't want to give good field position to a team that you've held down most of the afternoon. Straight ahead, right behind Sam Gash, Pro Bowl fullback for the Buffalo Bills, and just a real nose for the end zone does Thurman Thomas have.
I just don't think that the reward justifies the risk.
Exactly. Bad risk-reward ratio, and it's going to cost them the lead here, pending the extra point, which is good by Christie. Thurman Thomas has now scored a touchdown in each of his last 9 postseason games. That's an all-time NFL record. 8:54 to the half. Bills by 1.
Football, and you're in the lead.
Sometimes you can outsmart yourself as Christie kicks off, and it's taken at the 6-yard line by the rookie John Avery, their #1 pick out of Ole Miss. Flags all over the joint.
I've never seen this many flags.
I mean, just a ton of flags.
You might as well forget this. This doesn't mean anything right here.
This is exhibition football.
And we've got an injured Miami Dolphin back at the 22.
Dwight Hollier.
Hollier is still down on the ground, and he appears, he's trying to get up.
And this one will come all the way back.
There were some vicious collisions down here, but certainly the holding was seen by at least 4 officials. There's 4 flags down there.
On the receiving team, number 57, 10 yards, first down.
Would have been a 7- and 9-yard down for the Dolphins, who trail by 1. This is Abdul-Jabbar, and he gets wrestled down, and a flag comes in for what appeared to be a face mask violation.
Well, look at the guy who called it, though. He came from like 35 yards deep.
He did. The official who called it, you would think, had the worst angle of all.
If it is face mask, he might have called holding. No, he called face mask. Well, you know what? I could have called it from up here, and I was further away than he was.
Face mask on the defense. 5 yards only. First down.
That's Wayne Simmons. Last time we saw Wayne was the Monday night massacre in Kansas City.
That was the last time Wayne saw Kansas City.
That's right.
Released the following week by Marty Schottenheimer and has found a home here in Buffalo.
That was the Denver-Kansas City game that ended in such ingloriousness for the Chiefs that night. Derek Thomas wound up with a suspension, and Simmons was waived. Drayton is back in the game. They went back to check his ankle.
Interesting that Simmons gets waived, and Derek Thomas is the guy that had the 3 personal fouls on the one drive.
Right.
And Simmons makes his way into the playoffs.
We have not been short of controversial plays here.
Yeah.
In just about a quarter and a half of football.
And strategy coming into play on 1st and 6. This is Abdul-Jabbar. One of the things we started to say before is you can from time to time almost outsmart yourself, because maybe Jimmy Johnson is thinking, okay, I lead 6-0, and he's thinking if I can recover that kick, I've kept their defensive unit out on the field so long, and now they have to come out again, that I'll really have the upper hand. Maybe that's in his thinking.
Well, I don't know what's in his thinking, but you know, it's a gutsy call to do it. But when you're ahead 6-0 and your defense is playing well, why? And why give momentum to the other team? I don't understand it.
I just don't think you could lose sight of the big picture.
1st and 10 from the 23-yard line. And that's caught up at the 34 by Lamar Thomas.
And the big picture in my mind for the Miami Dolphins is the strength of my football team is my defensive unit. And if that's the case, and Jimmy's always been a proponent of playing it close to the vest, you know, hammering away with the football, don't ever compromise your defensive football team, and that was a huge compromise.
Sure. Well, he was going for the juggler earlier. I mean, early in the game, much earlier than you would suspect. And again, it gets down to the point. Maybe outsmart yourself. Maybe you go, well, you know, it's the last thing in the world they're thinking about. So 1st and 10 from the 34-yard line. And this time it's Pritchett. And he gets taken down. Sam Rogers with an ankle tackle, gain of 1.
You know, the other thing to look at too is their offense is moving the ball pretty good. They're running it okay. They're throwing it all right. Even though they only have 6 points, they basically have controlled the game from an offensive standpoint.
They haven't seen much of Flutie. I mean, Flutie's only thrown 6 passes to this point, but for 124 yards. And the Dolphins have had the ball almost 17 minutes to 6 for the Bills.
And have run almost 3 times as many plays as has Buffalo.
2nd down and 9 from the 34. Marino out of a shotgun. 3-man rush. Dan over the middle, nearly has it picked off. Threw into a passel of Bills, and John Holosek had it deflect off his fingertips.
Well, actually, the ball, I think, was deflected before it got to Holosek. Looked like somebody up towards the line of scrimmage might have gotten a hand on that football.
What the Bills have decided to do, though, when Miami empties the backfield like this, they're just dropping 8 and rushing 3 and hoping that the 3 rushers can get to Dan Marino. And you can see Bruce Smith getting run around the top. He's got 2 guys blocking him.
Sam Cowart.
Right. It's a tough situation to throw the ball in down there because I mean, there's too many guys underneath.
3rd and 9 from the 35-yard line. Marino underneath, caught, and trying to get the first down is Gadsden. He's close to it.
Did you see Henry Jones bounce off of Gadsden? Now that's when it pays to be a 220-pound receiver, and we're seeing more and more of these kind of guys in the NFL now. Henry Jones, though, a hard-hitting, strong safety. Watch him boing off of this guy.
When the receivers for the Miami Dolphins earlier in the year were taking a lot of heat, saying that they couldn't get open, they couldn't make plays down the field, but the last 4 or 5 weeks, this is exactly what they've been doing. Rondé Gadsden had a big game against Atlanta last week, lost the starting job to Lamar Thomas, and all of a sudden he's got a pretty good receiving core going for him.
So 4th down and 1, and they send in Klaus Wilmsmeyer. The punt, fair catch is called for, made at the 23 by Kevin Williams. 5:10 left in the opening half. Opening wild card game of 1999. 7-6 Buffalo. Division champions of the NFC, the Cowboys, coming up after this. Now Flutie from the 23, a little dump off to Sam Gash. And Gash gets upended at the 33-yard line. That's close to a first down.
When you play a team that plays some man coverage in the secondary like the Miami Dolphins do, play action in the backfield can confuse linebackers. They don't know whether to stay at home or run with their responsibilities, and Gash sneaks out and Flutie finds them. And these are the things that a good running game can do for you, and certainly Buffalo has one of those.
George Hill, the defensive coordinator of the Miami Dolphins, on 2nd down and a short one from the 33-yard line, out of the eye. And it is Antoine Smith picking up the first down. Antoine Smith didn't go to college for a couple of years when he graduated from high school. As you look at Joe Pendry, and Pendry's had Smith as his ace back this year. Antoine, 2 years helping his grandparents who'd raised him stay afloat. And his grandmother died. He promised her he'd get a college education, enrolled in a JC, wound up going to Houston, and at the age of 25 was their #1 draft choice 2 years ago.
This is the interesting formation by the Buffalo Bills. Put your receivers inside and your other guys, your running backs and tight ends outside.
Flutie on first down, and that pass is incomplete. Intended for Kevin Williams. 2nd and 10. This wild card playoff game from Miami is being brought to you by Bud Light. For the great taste that won't fill you up and never lets you down, make it a Bud Light. First Union, your guide to the financial world. And Visa, the preferred card of the NFL. It's everywhere you want to be.
The Gulls flying into the wind, and the wind is certainly here. There's George Hill. By the way, a lot of people thinking that it's automatic that Dave Wannstedt, now that he's not in Chicago any longer, would rejoin Jimmy. Jimmy wanted us to know that George Hill will be the defensive coordinator here next year.
On 2nd and 10, Thurman Thomas, who has already scored a touchdown today, is close to a first down. Tackled at the 44, tripped up there by Sam Madison.
Did you see big old Jamie Nails, 6'6", 360 pounds, leading Thurman Thomas around the corner? When you have an offensive guard, and he's in there for Reuben Brown right now, running around the corner that big of a man, laying blocks on defensive backs and linebackers, this shows you why your running game is what it is. Watch, he knocks a linebacker out of the way.
Derek Rogers.
And then goes after a little DB. You know, those linemen love that.
And how can you not be a good blocker when your name is Jamie Nails?
And you weigh 360.
If you can't, the name is worth a good drive block alone.
Here's Thomas for the 49. You know, Dan, sometimes you have to put things in relation to other things. You know, we say 360 and these guys are getting bigger and bigger. But think of it this way. If Flutie weighs 180, 2 Doug Fluties go into 1 Jamie Nails.
That's a lot of Flutie flakes. And Jamie looks like he's passed the Flutie flakes and gone right to the pancakes, omelets.
I'll tell you one thing. The Buffalo Bills have the all-airport team with Nails and Washington and some of those big guys that they have.
Yeah. Whoa. Had a few Rubens, too.
Right.
2nd and 2 from the 48. Antoine Smith tripped up a little short of the first down. 3rd and a yard or so. Upcoming.
Jamie Nails might make the all-name NFL team someday. That's just a good football name.
Well, when you look at the battle that's going on in the middle between Gardner and Bowens, 315 both, and a guy like Jamie Nails in the middle, that's where the game is won, at the line of scrimmage.
3rd and short upcoming. 2-minute warning. Buffalo 7, Miami 6. 1. Carl Mock, line coach, looking on. There's Jason Taylor, a guy they'll miss for the balance of the playoffs.
He's got a broken clavicle, which is the collarbone. He has no chance of returning. They put him on IR.
3rd down and 1, and Flutie starts in the gun, then comes up under center because of the crowd noise, and takes the snap and throws, and it's caught at the 40-yard line by Kevin Williams. And how great was that? Flutie in the gun, knowing nobody could hear him, comes up under center and completes it.
Extremely smart by Doug Flutie. That is, well, of course, that's the sign of a guy that's been there before.
Well, he's been there before, but really when you think about it, Dan, the difference between him now and say 10 years ago in the NFL is that his maturity level has matched finally, you know, his playing level, and he'd be able to put them both together and become the player that he is now in the NFL.
Doug, at the age of 36, Heisman Trophy winner in '84 at Boston College, throws. That's caught at the 25 by the great Andre Reed. With Moles developing this year, Moles is really their go-to guy, but Andre Reed continues, as he has for 14 years, to live over the middle.
There's your boy Carl Mark, just going crazy. He's beautiful.
All offensive line coaches go crazy.
Timeout, Buffalo. As you see, Dolphins win by 6 in September here. Bills win by 6, Orchard Park in November. Equal total of points. These teams had the same record. They had to go all the way to the 5th tiebreaker to determine whether this game would be played in Miami or Buffalo. That was net point differential in division games. Thurman Thomas to the 11. We mentioned before he has scored touchdowns in his last 9 postseason games. He also, with that earlier touchdown, now has 21, the most postseason touchdowns in history. He shared that mark at the beginning of today with Emmitt Smith, who could eclipse him later this afternoon.
Certainly could, and that was the same play we saw before, getting out on the edge behind Nails, the left guard.
2 timeouts remaining for Buffalo. First down from the 12. Floated into the end zone. Moles is there, and he can't make the play. Brian Walker with the coverage.
And what's a smart thing by the Buffalo Bills, what they're doing now is they're actually running against the nickel defense of the Miami Dolphins, taking out their best tacklers and letting Thurman Thomas run around the corner and break some tackles, and then putting the receivers inside, matching them up one-on-one and giving them more room, taking the boundary away from the defensive backs of the Miami Dolphins. Ooh, that was close.
Toe on the chalk.
That was an extremely close play.
11th play of the drive, 2nd and goal. Flutie taken off, looking for the end zone. Tackled from behind at the 5-yard line. Kenny Mixon saved a touchdown. The rookie out of LSU. Timeout Buffalo with 24 ticks left. And the Bills still have 1 timeout. 7-6 Bills. Set in his helmet.
I would say right here, Dan, that you'd watch the middle of the field. You know, they've had some success with their tight ends in recent weeks for touchdown passes. This is also an opportunity for them to run here, too, as well.
For Doug Flutie to run.
Johnson and Reamersma are the tight ends. Reamersma caught 6 during the regular year. With Reed in motion, the pass is picked off by Marion at the 1-yard line. And Marion gets tackled by Moles up at the 20. Flags all over the joint at the end of the play.
They're going to get
Marion ripped off his helmet.
Or somebody ripped it off.
No, it was Eric Moles who ripped it off.
Well,
that's why the flag is there.
Well, no, that was before. Almost looked. I thought Marion took it off himself.
In any event, the penalty figures to be inconsequential against Miami because they've been able to stave off the Buffalo threat. Regardless, the post-possession foul.
I think Marion took off. I thought he ripped off his own helmet.
Personal foul, major face mask, defense, number 80, 15 yards, first down.
Well, that was Moles.
Moles got the face mask.
Right.
Apparently he took enough of the helmet off.
Well, first of all, Doug Flutie really jams the football into coverage. He's trying to get at the read, and there is a Dolphin on either side. The one side was Marion. There comes Mold. There's the face mask. And Marion takes his helmet off himself, hopping mad, and very fortunate that he did not get hit. Oh, look at that, spun all the way around. Well, there's why he's trying to take it off. It spun to the side, and it's pinching his nose, probably. Whoa, that's a type of a face mask by Molds where a guy can really get hurt.
Well, Marino has time to get him into field goal range with one long one here. 15 seconds. Dan stepping up. Dan going deep, but only Bills are back there as they surround Gadsden. Did he come up with it? It somehow winds up in the hands of McDuffie.
Did he lateral it? It looked like he caught it and lateraled it back to McDuffie, didn't it?
Timeout is called, and they can at least take the lead with a field goal here.
Aronde Gadsden must be thinking he's still playing in the Arena League. It almost looked to me as if he caught the ball and then tried to lateral it. Look at this.
What a play.
He did. What is he thinking about?
Oh, that ball had to get knocked out.
No way. He tried to do that.
It looks like he's at least thinking about doing it.
Look at this. He might not know that they have timeouts left. He's thinking that the game's got to go on. He thinks it's the last play.
And McDuffie's trying to get rid of it as well.
These guys.
27-yard field goal attempt.
You could say what you want about these receivers early on in the season, but they have become playmakers.
Well,
they obviously don't know what's going on in terms of timeouts either.
Gadsden's played more football than anybody on earth, a whole Arena League season, then a whole NFL season, now the postseason.
Well, you love that as a quarterback, too, where your stats go up big and you get nice numbers, and it looks like it's a whole player. Then On the other side, Doug Flutie's still thinking about the interception he just threw and how sick that makes him.
So it's a first half of bizarre plays. The Molds reception on the opening play of the game, 65 yards, and then the fumble, and then the onside kick attempt, and now this play, and now Miami can retake the lead on a 27-yard attempt by Olindo Mate. And upright.
That's fitting.
It is.
That's fitting. That fits right in with everything else that has happened here in the first half, but that would be the last play of the half.
Dan, one thing we did know is that we were going to get a good game. Didn't we know that?
Yes, we did.
What a half.
What an interesting one.
7-6 Buffalo up next. Preview of the Dallas-Arizona Wildcard game back after this from the NFL on a word from our ABC stations.
Not one of them, so I'm not saying anything.
I noticed. Marino going deep, and there's all sorts of contact, no flag. Wade Jackson picks it off.
Yeah.
Where do interceptions come from? They come from pressure in the backfield, and as Dan Marino's getting ready to release the ball, he gets hit, and the ball floats on him.
Lamar Thomas, who was the big star in that Monday night game, is the intended receiver here.
You know, and the Buffalo Bills are bringing the linebackers up the middle. And it was a nice catch this time by the defensive back of the Buffalo Bills.
Raymond Jackson, the guy that's subbing for Thomas Smith.
You see that ball floating, though. It kind of hung up there, and it was a little bit of a duck in the wind.
Raymond Jackson is actually a guy who was third on the depth chart until recently, behind Smith and Donovan Greer. Marino's arm may have also been hit as he threw it on that last play. And now Flutie on first down floats one down the sideline, and that's incomplete. Good coverage intended for Eric Bowles and broken up by Calvin Jackson.
And again, Flutie throws into coverage. Doug not shy about trying to jam the football in there. Let's go back and take a look at this interception by Jackson.
And there it is. There's the pressure.
He's not allowed to follow through. Right.
Exactly. Sam Cowart, number 56, gets right through there. And again, you know, it depends on how your pass protection is working and how the pressure of the defense is working. But if the pressure of the defense is getting to you, then your secondary is going to be that much better.
2nd and 10 at the 36-yard line. Thomas. Knocked down at the line of scrimmage. It's Darrell Gardner having a good year making the tackle.
Big Jamie Nails, this guy's putting the hurt to people. He is. Every time this guy leaves his guard spot, somebody in a Miami uniform ends up on the ground. Jamie Nails, the left guard, here he is pulling. Boy! Derek Rogers is being abused there a little bit by Big Jamie.
Would you say the future is bright for the offensive linemen of the Buffalo Bills?
Bills spread it out. Look at this formation. Like a picket line. And caught at the first down marker, Eric Molds for a first down.
You know, Al, this is where Doug Flutie excels. You put him back in the shotgun, you spread them all out. These are the things that he did so well up in Canada, improvising on plays. And he was telling us last night that when he was in Canada, he actually was coach and offensive coordinator.
Well, he got to call his own plays.
He did, and right there he stood in the face of a blitz and delivered the ball nicely to Eric Molds, and Molds makes a nice catch going below his knees and trying to stay on his feet and getting the first down.
1st and 10 at the 46-yard line. And this is Antoine Smith across the 50 to the 46 off a Sam Gash block. Flutie did everything in Canada but write the checks.
And sometimes
receive them. Sometimes didn't receive them.
Yeah, Doug kind of had a sparse financial year in what, 95? Got paid the first couple of weeks of the season, and then just a lump of coal after that.
That's right. He had $1 million contract, and he wound up getting about $100,000. And that's forgetting the conversion rate up there anyway. 2nd down and 3 at the 46.
You would never forget that.
Oh, of course not. This is Antoine Smith somehow pulling and churning and picks up the first down as the Sun comes out brightly for the first time all day.
You know, then he comes back to Buffalo and signs basically what is a very small contract that's laden with incentives. And really what it shows you, I think what it shows me a guy who loves to play the game. To be able to put up with that in Calgary and all the things that he had to endure through that trying season and not getting paid. And then coming here and watching Rob Johnson, who you see right there, signing a $25 million contract. And now finds himself as a starter, a guy who loves to play football.
Rob Johnson, 25 for 5, so $5 million a season. Flutie can't get rid of it. Loses the football. Ruled a fumble. Zach Thomas has it. Miami ball at the Buffalo 40. It was Derek Rogers who came in and knocked it loose.
And again, that's just another example of Doug trying to do too much. You just sometimes you're caught. And I guess you got to go down. But Doug trying to make something happen, trying to fight through the sack, ends up turning it over.
And he knows right here that they're bringing a blitz. He knows that these guys are coming unblocked. He's just got to put the ball away, take the sack, a bad play versus a defense that's coming after you.
And he saves a touchdown there when he gets up. Flutie saving a touchdown at the end of the play.
Well, Robert Jones has him around the legs, but then Derek Rogers rather, comes in and puts his hand right on the ball when Doug is thinking about trying to throw it away. Outstanding pursuit by Derek Rogers and Robert Jones, two really active linebackers.
Active and fast,
yeah.
And those are the types of players that he is not used to seeing until he got back into the NFL. You're not going to fool those guys too many times.
Third Buffalo turnover, 1st and 10 at the 41-yard line. Marino has that one batted. It's a batted ball. It's a jump ball, and then spiked.
And Dan elevated there a little bit.
Oh, he didn't elevate. Just that the guy that was going after it, Northern, is probably a little bit heavier than he is and doesn't have the ups that he has. No, and when that happens, that ball goes in the air, you think it's up there forever. Come on down, get it down already.
Now we'll see if Dan gets off the ground or not here.
Let's see. Oh yes, he does.
He's skied, rejected.
Over Marcellus Wiley, actually.
Goaltending on Marino.
That's what they needed, Abdul-Jabbar in the backfield. 2nd and 10 at the 41. End around, McDuffie. 3-yard gain, bumped out by Kurt Schultz. And down is the rookie linebacker, that's Sam Cowart. Their top pick in the draft came in the 2nd round out of Florida State, and a guy who cemented a starting position earlier in the season and helping to facilitate Wade Phillips going back to the 3-4 defensive alignment. So this could be a big loss for Buffalo. Injury timeout, at least for the moment. 7-6 Buffalo. 3rd down and 7. Marino out of the shotgun. And that is incomplete at the 29-yard line. Here comes the flag. Eric Smedley gets up to give the line judge a piece of his mind on the pass intended for Troy Drayton.
Smedley is trying to plead his case that Drayton was pushing off. Yeah, actually have 2 flags.
We're going to have offsetting fouls.
Mike Carey is the ref.
This is one-on-one coverage right here.
There were fouls by both teams on the play. Illegal hands to the face on the offense, number 76. Pass interference on the defense, number 40. Both fouls offset. 3rd down.
You can't put your hands on the receiver past 5 yards, and you wonder what Smedley's thinking about arguing his case.
Well, James Brown, the right tackle for the Miami Dolphins, was called for the illegal hands to the face on the far side of the play. But everybody saw Smedley.
How many penalties now have the Bills had on 3rd down that have been really costly in situations where, they'd be taken over?
Well, they're lucky right there that Brown was flagged as well, so it's offsetting.
3rd down and 7. Dan steps up, little dump off, and it is dropped. A dump off pass to Bernie Parmalee, who comes in on 3rd down, and he started to look upfield before he looked it into his hands.
I think Dan scared him.
Yeah.
Certainly took Bernie by surprise.
It looks like they're going to go for it right here.
That was 4th down. If Parmalee makes the catch, even if he's shy of the first down, they probably go for a field goal. Now you're looking at about a 55-yarder. And so Johnson will line up at least to go for it on 4th down and 7.
The officials are probably going to discuss the down clock because it was down pretty low and got there pretty quickly. I don't necessarily know that the play clock. And
Both down markers will now be set to 4th down.
oh, down markers.
One of them said 3rd down, so they're both at 4th down now. Play clock starts at 25 after a stoppage such as that. And it's 4th down and 7.
And what you'll probably see here is you'll see a guy coming in motion. They'll try to run some sort of 3-man package to one side of the field, probably to the wide side down here at the bottom of the screen. Here he comes.
Cowart going back to the locker room, the linebacker. Marino throws, tipped in the air, drops incomplete. It was Dan Brandenburg, the linebacker, who tipped it. So Miami can't convert. Buffalo gets it back. 10:26 left in the 3rd. Bills by a point. The quarterback comparison right there. Each with an interception, neither with a touchdown. Buffalo leading by a point. 1st down from the 37. Flutie pressured, and they got enough of him. The flag comes in. Darryl Gardner swiped at him, and down he went. But Jamie Nails is probably going to get a holding call here.
Yeah, Gardner drew the hold and made the play.
No foul for offensive holding. The quarterback was sacked behind the line of scrimmage.
No foul.
2nd down.
It was Darryl Gardner, though, working against Nails. Got outstanding penetration and collapsed the pocket right into Flutie. Gardner's number 92. Just works the outside shoulder of Nails and splits that gap between Nails and Fina. Keith Jackson would say he hog-tied him.
He hogged that big ugly. He hog-tied him. 2nd and 18. Baron Tanner has replaced Tim Bowens. Bowens out probably for the rest of the game with a biceps pull. And this is Wiemersmer making his first catch of the afternoon up at the 32-yard line. Tackled there by Patrick Surtain. 3rd down and 14 upcoming.
For me, just watching Doug Flutie the first time live and seeing him, the thing that I would try to do is keep him in the shotgun, keep him back there, let him work from that area. You can see the field a lot better, and he also can take off and run against a few times. But when you got him underneath the center, it's a little bit tough for him, especially with those defensive ends widened out, like Jimmy Johnson said he was going to do in passing situations.
3rd and 14. Crowd roaring. Flutie throws, adjusting on it, but incomplete. Kevin Williams came back, but had to make the catch on a hop. 4th down.
That ball looked like it slipped a little bit out of Doug's hands, and he was trying to underthrow a go pattern down on the right-hand side of the field, and it was a good thought. It was a good understanding of what was happening. You'll see Williams go down and out, and he'll run, and they'll try to underthrow the ball, and he'll come back for it, but it was just a little bit short. One of the hardest things for defensive backs to do is to adjust on an underthrown ball like that. Not everybody has Deion Sanders skills where they can go after the football.
Chris Moore to punt. McDuffie and Buckley are both back deep. Short kick, 28-yard line. McDuffie. Pretty good run back. Close to midfield. Spotted up at the 48. 9:06 left in the 3rd. A good one in Miami. Bills by a point. Have it at their own 48-yard line. 1st and 10. Buffalo 7, Miami 6. 9:06 left in the 3rd. McDuffie is in motion. Start on the ground. Abdul-Jabbar picks up a yard, maybe 2. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar 14 carries now for 47 yards. Jimmy Johnson talking about the running game, as he has. They did try to run, and while the line was intact most of the season, but in terms of Abdul-Jabbar, you wonder, is he the guy for the future? Jimmy did say one thing the last time we saw him. He said, I'll probably use all of my draft picks on offense.
Jabbar is steady, but he's not spectacular. He's not the guy, I think, that over the long haul you build your running game around.
Abdul-Jabbar pretty close to a first down there, about a yard shy.
The one thing he does,
he's the guy you always want to have on your team.
Right, he runs hard, and you can see he'll plow it up in there. And you know, this is after 2 weeks ago suffering a concussion. He still has the knack of driving it up there.
Buffalo, 3 turnovers. Miami 1. Road teams 2 and 41 in this decade with a turnover disadvantage. So Buffalo at the moment really bucking a trend that only 2 teams of 43 have been able to overcome. And Abdul-Jabbar gets hit hard, but should have picked up the first down. Kent Irvin spills him.
See, that's what I'm talking about. Then he will now. I'll tell you, he will run it up in there. He's not afraid. And
oh no, believe me, I was not being disparaging of Jabbar. I'm just making the point that when you look at the big-time feature backs in this league, Jimmy Johnson will be the first to tell you that he'd like a little more explosiveness at the running back position.
And he's got John Avery also on the bench right now. We've seen little of him, their #1 draft choice out of Ole Miss. Good tackle here to make it close enough to measure.
Keep in mind, that's a cornerback. that's supporting the run when you're in the backfield making it.
Well, that's fair. I mean, the Dolphins really, for the last 10 years, have all, you know, they just don't run the football. I mean, they try, and Jimmy has tried since he's been here. You know, some teams just are known as quarterback and throwing teams, and that's exactly what the Dolphins have been since Dan Marino's gotten here.
First down. This wildcard playoff game for Miami is being brought to you by Sprint Business Flex, the only communications plan that adapts to your changing small business needs. Southwest Airlines, proud sponsor of the NFL and official airline of the Super Bowl. And Miller Lite, an official sponsor of the NFL and the Super Bowl. Super Bowl to be played here at the end of the month. 4 weeks from tomorrow. First down from the 42-yard line as Marino throws. And it is caught at the 37 and taking it to the 34-yard line is Lamar Thomas. Only his second catch of the game, tackled by Jackson.
The last time the Dolphins came to the sideline, Lamar Thomas and Dan Marino had a long discussion, and I'm sure it was concerning getting Lamar open and getting him more involved in this ball game. He is a big play receiver. We saw him explode a couple of weeks ago on Monday night against Denver, and he is a guy that can break loose, get that kind of separation that Marino's looking for, and Dan's got confidence in him now.
2nd and 2, ground again, and this time Bruce Smith, who's had a very, very quiet day. We rarely called his name today or talked about him, and they run the play at Bruce, and he makes the stop. Tackles are always unofficial stats, but we have him down for 2 today. And no sacks.
And really one of the reasons for that is because they run away from him or they try to put 2 guys on him. And right here it's Richmond Webb versus Bruce Smith. And more often than not, Bruce Smith is going to win a one-on-one battle like this if you go at him. So right now the Dolphins are doing the smart thing, running away from him, and in passing situations trying to get 2 guys on him.
3rd and a long 2. Key play, 6:03 left in the 3rd. And they try it on the ground. Big hole for Bernie Parmalee, who takes it to the 22. They bring Parmalee in passing situations. He's part of the passing game, and they fool him on the ground.
Well, that time they go to the left side again. We saw it before where Bruce Smith made the play. This time Bruce jumps to the inside and isn't able to get back into the lane. There's Bruce on the left. You see him? He jumps clear inside onto Brent Smith, the guard, and then he's not able to recover and get back out onto Parmalee.
It's because of his alignment and what he has to do. Yep. It takes him out of the play.
If you're Buffalo's defense, you're thinking, here's a guy who's carried the ball 8 times the entire season for 20 yards. He's not going to get it, but he did. First down at the 23. Now back to their base set. Abdul-Jabbar with a stiff arm, and he picks up 5, and he's out of bounds at the 18.
And right now, Miami exploring some softness on the right defensive side of Buffalo's team, working behind Ruddy, Smith, and Webb. They are being very, very effective in running the ball on the ground. And face it, Jimmy's been telling everybody that, you know, for the last month, we just haven't knocked anybody off the ball. They've been hurt. But here, this is called controlling the line of scrimmage.
2nd and 5 from the 17-yard line. Abdul-Jabbar tries to cut it back, gets it to the 15, a big third, and long 2 coming up. Rodgers makes the hit.
You can say what you want, but both defenses have kind of given up a little bit, but really held strong down in the red zone. And another huge play for the Miami Dolphins right here on 3rd down.
In the red zone, of all things, the Bills defense playing pretty well, but in the red zone, they were the worst in the league when you rank on the top there. And look at the other companies: Cincinnati, Indianapolis, Washington, Chicago, all out of the playoffs. That tells you all you need to know. In the red zone, they've been very bad.
You wonder how they go 10-6 with that kind of performance.
An aberration. 3rd and 3. They just get the play off and convert to the 9-yard line to a run to Gadsden. On this drive now, Miami has converted 3rd and 1, 3rd and 2, and 3rd and 2 again.
Just a simple little play. It's a 5-yard stop pattern, and Donovan Greer, the defensive back, number 25, is playing so far off. He gives Gadsden an opportunity to make an easy play.
1st and goal at the 9. 3.5 left in the 3rd. 7-6 Bills. John Avery in the game in the backfield. McDuffie in motion. The number 1 draft choice out of Ole Miss. Avery takes it down to the 6-yard line. It'll be 2nd and goal.
Ted Washington over on the Buffalo sideline, wasn't in there on the 1st down situation. Will they send him in now that they get down towards the 5-yard line?
So far this is working right like Jimmy Johnson said. He wanted it to be a little bit hot, a little bit damp, and also take him, Ted Washington, off the field because of fatigue.
One of the best run stuffers in football, just standing and watching.
11th play of the drive, 2nd and goal. Avery is the ace back. Fake to him, pressure, incomplete, deflected, intended for Perry.
Oh, and now a flag comes in late. Gabe Northern and Dan Marino were back there. This is going to go against Buffalo.
Northern must have hit Dan Marino to the head. I didn't see anything that looked to be a late hit.
I don't. Let's see if
Personal foul, roughing the passer, blow to the helmet, defense. Half the distance to the goal, automatic.
well, you heard Mike Carey say a blow to the helmet. And again, an automatic 1st down really moves Miami down close to the goal line. All right, now he blocks it a little bit. Geez, he comes down and with his hand on top of Marino's head. That's hardly a vicious blow.
Yep.
Whoa, boy.
1st and goal from the 3. Marino buys time, guns it into the end zone, and it's incomplete. Intended for Frank Wainwright, the 3rd tight end, and a guy who did not catch a single pass all season.
Now, you want to talk about accuracy of the great quarterbacks. Dan Marino is facing a rush from Bruce Smith and takes it as soon as he lets go of the ball, but he's waiting for Wainwright to get out there, and he throws it low and away from the defender, and really it's a catch that should be made.
Wainwright is on the team as a snapper.
I guess that's not holding right there, is it?
What is? Well, this has been a good series of events for Miami.
2nd and goal, trying to culminate it here, and Abdul-Jabbar takes it in. Touchdown. Broke a Bruce Smith tackle. Jimmy Johnson says go for 2 since we're up by 5.
And if you're a fan of the Buffalo Bills, you're thinking to yourself, we got hosed on that call of roughing the passer against Gabe Northern. That was not much.
That was the 4th 1st down Miami has picked up in this game via penalty to go with the 3 turnovers.
Man, right up the middle, and Bruce Smith misses a tackle there. The lineman, defensive linebackers overplaying the run and not being able to get to the cutback.
Now up by 5, you're compelled to go for 2. The Dolphins have made some dubious choices this year in terms of conversions. One of them in that Miami-New England game we had on a Monday night, but there's no dubiousness involved here. Up by 5, clearly you go for 2.
And I hate to think there was some dubiousness.
No. On the ground, and they give it to Pritchett, and Stanley takes it in. So they spread them out. They send the 3 receivers to the right. Buffalo thinks pass. Miami goes run and leads by 7.
Well, on this drive, if we saw one thing, we saw really effective blocking by the Miami offensive line. No Buffalo defender touches the Dolphin on his way into the end zone. Solid.
He conventionally sends it to the west end zone. Kevin Williams takes it from the 9 and gets banged down up at the 19-yard line by Bernie Parmalee. The ex-UPS driver just made a very special delivery. Here comes Flutie. 2:23 left in the third. A beauty in Miami. Dolphins by 7. Averaging 5 yards per carry on the ground. Down by 7. From the 20-yard line on first down. On the ground, and Smith gets taken down behind the line of scrimmage by a charged up Miami defense, fueled by this crowd. Darrell Gardner with a tackle.
Well, this crowd has become very appreciative of the way this defense has played all year. And keep in mind, the only Buffalo touchdown that they've given up came on the short field after the attempted onside kick. Buffalo only had to cover 42 yards for the touchdown.
The most important thing right now for the Buffalo Bill offense, 1, no turnovers, and 2, they got to grind out a first down and keep their defense, give their defense a chance on the sideline to catch their breath.
2nd and 13 after that 3-yard loss. Flutie deep over the middle and incomplete and nearly intercepted, but here come the flags. Buckley lunged for it. The intended receiver was Kevin Williams.
What a break for the Buffalo Bills right there, getting out of their own end zone. And the noisy part of the stadium here is in the closed parts of it, which is down inside the 15-yard lines. And to be able to come up with a play like this, close.
Well, who are they calling here? Surtain, I think, is the guy that was involved.
He had the coverage.
Automatic.
Yeah.
First down.
Yeah, Patrick Surtain was covering the receiver in the slot. All right, here's Surtain as he chases Williams.
It looks like he has a hold of his left arm, doesn't it? It's a good call by the official there.
And then he kind of threw his body into him and cut Kevin Williams.
Only the 2nd penalty of the game against Miami. Flutie finds Moulds. Moulds gets outside, covered by Thomas at the 33-yard line. So here you have a guy going to the Pro Bowl covered by a linebacker.
And that, again, that's the offensive set that the Buffalo Bills had told us last night that they were going to get in. Try to put their receivers inside, free them up from the man zone coverage of the outside cornerbacks. And this ball kind of came out end over end a little bit, floating.
Joe Cap special.
Right, but that's exactly the type of matchup that they expected. When you put your receivers inside, you play against a team that plays a matchup zone. The people who match up against your inside receivers are linebackers.
Flutie spreading the field from end to end. That's an errant pass, low, wobbly, intended for Andre Reed. 2nd and 10.
See, when they get him back in the shotgun like this, he can survey the field. He can get his pre-snap read, the read of the defense before the ball is in his hands, and it helps him at his height to be able to know where he's going to go with the ball before he gets it. And if he has any disorientation or anything happening back there, he can now run freely and make some plays, you know, creatively. How's that?
Excellent.
Good. All right.
Excellent. Gold star.
2nd and 10 from the 33.
There's nobody in the middle, man. Get rid of the football. Here they come.
And Flutie going deep, and it is caught inside the 5-yard line, and for the touchdown, Eric Moulds.
Absolutely. He saw the blitz coming, and he's back in the shotgun so he can survey the field. His pre-snap read knows that he's going to go right now to his hot receiver, and that's exactly what he does.
Walker with a corner blitz that time, and Jerry Wilson, who normally comes into the corner blitz, was in coverage on the play.
Watch the guys coming off the side. There they are, unblocked. And this is what you want to do. Just lay the ball out and let your best athlete go and get it.
Now Christie for the tie. Moore puts it down. Christie's kick is good. Moles with a 32-yard touchdown catch has caught 5 for 167 yards and a touchdown. 48 ticks left, third quarter. The game tied at 14.
He's back in the shotgun and lets it out and lets Moles go out and run underneath it. And because of where Moles was aligned in the offensive set inside, he's up against Jerry Wilson as opposed to Sam Madison or Terrell Buckley.
I was thinking on that. Moles makes 2 key catches on that drive, and on neither was he covered by 2 guys who could have gone to the Pro Bowl. Instead, on one it's Zach Thomas, on the other it's Jerry Wilson.
And that's where you have to give credit to the offensive coordinator and the scheme that they're working.
You're always trying to give yourself the best opportunity, the best matchup, and a lot of times against a defense like the Miami Dolphins, you can do that formation-wise. And you know, Joe Pendry, along with Turk Schonert, their quarterback coach, and Carl Mock and their entire offensive staff, you can do that by watching film on a weekly basis, and certainly these 2 teams know each other very well.
I wonder what Marv Levy's thinking as he watches the game.
He's thinking, I want to get back into this and start coaching again. That's what he's thinking.
Whatever he is thinking, he's thinking in grammatically correct English.
No question about it. Happy New Year to you, Marv. One of our all-time favorite guys.
Absolutely.
Steve Christie to kick off. Manny Martin will hold it in the breeze.
Nice kick.
Goal line, John Avery. Good tackle up at the 17-yard line by Darryl Porter. A reminder, tomorrow, right here on...
Well, tomorrow, boys, I go to go see my Maryland Terrapins versus the Duke Blue Devils in hoops. Not a bad little weekend. Get Miami and Buffalo, then Maryland versus Duke. How about that?
Boomer, you've got the life, baby.
I do have the life. It doesn't get any better than this.
I hope it's as good as this game.
From the 18-yard line, Marino on first down. Abdul-Jabbar.
I guess I should say that's basketball.
Yes.
You said hoops.
I did say hoops. I did, didn't I?
It's a 90s phrase, right?
Right.
Gain of 2 for Jabbar up to the 20-yard line. It's a 50s phrase that's in vogue again in the 90s. And the teams will let the clock tick down. The period will expire. End of 3 and a beauty in Miami. It's Buffalo 14, Miami 14. This wild card game is back after this from our ABC stations. Either in New York against the Jets or in Denver against the Broncos next weekend. Dependent upon the outcome of the Jacksonville-New England game tomorrow. But first things first, as they determine this, and Marino throws and has a first on a face mask there as Aranda Gadsden takes it out to the 36, and they'll tack on a few more.
And there's some retired officials up in the stands that threw flags.
We were talking about before the game, you know, whether you want to pass or whether you want to run. You want to try to run if you're the Miami Dolphins, but really with the depleted secondary and the injuries back there, and now the fatigued defensive line of the Buffalo Bills, this could be the best shot right here. Just keep throwing it outside. Your receivers look fresh. They're making plays for you. And look at this. I mean, all the way down to the 50-yard line.
Joe Cummings, the linebacker, is the guilty party. And that's the 15-yard variety. And all of a sudden, back inside your 20-yard line, you're all the way up to midfield.
One of the reasons Cummings is even in here at this particular point is the injury to Sam Cowart.
A groin injury, I guess.
Right. And he's out. So they go to the bench, and it's first down from the 50. And Marino has that one. And knocked away, and somehow it winds up in Tim Ruddy's hands.
Did you see him moving?
And the center to the 43-yard line.
Oh, yeah.
Now that's fun. Now he's the center, so he gets to touch the ball every play anyway. But this ball batted right at the line of scrimmage. Let's see who gets it. And Karam's going to go right to Ruddy. Did Ted Washington get that?
He did.
I think he did. It goes right to Ruddy, and he knew what to do it. See, Boomer? There goes a lineman doing something. You know, something good.
Linemen do something on every play, Dan.
Good.
first reception of his career, as if we had to tell you. 2nd down and 2. And this is Abdul-Jabbar to the 36-yard line for a first down.
And I'll bet you he ran faster than Marino could have run with.
I bet you he could. It's an amazing thing. He's very athletic.
Oh, shut up.
Aware, instincts. Boy, he was great.
I bet you Ruddy could beat Marino in a 40-yard dash.
I bet you I could beat you in a 40-yard dash.
After 3 quarters, you've got Buffalo with those 3 turnovers to 1, but the game tied. And that is the most significant difference in those numbers.
I'm sure you could.
First down from the 37-yard line. Marino throws, caught by McDuffie, seeks the first down, but gets knocked down shy of it by Ray Jackson.
And we've seen time and again now outside how far these DBs of the Buffalo Bills are playing off, and you just have to be patient and take the short little stuff like this. You break a tackle, that's when you get the big play. But again, this is, I think, is the weak part of the Buffalo Bill defense, just because of the inexperience back there in the youth. A simple little play where OJ goes up the field and turns outside, and Danny delivers it on time, and you gain 9 yards.
2nd and 2 from the 29-yard line. Abdul-Jabbar moves the chains. 1st and 10. Takes it to the 24. Tackled by Pat Williams.
Abdul-Jabbar is moving the chains, but right now, and so far in the second half, the Miami offensive line is moving the Buffalo Bills defensive line. They are winning the battle up front. Richmond, Webb, and Smith, and Ruddy, Donnelly, and Brown, they're getting the surge. And it's not been their specialty. But they are beginning to assert some dominance on the line of scrimmage right now. Case in point, Bruce Smith, not really a factor in this football game. Look at that surge. Everybody in a Buffalo uniform is moving backwards.
Marino, the short drop. Quick flip. Caught by McDuffie. Breaks the tackle. Takes it inside the 10. 1st and goal.
And that's what I've been talking about, the little plays like that, and all of a sudden a broken tackle, and the next thing you know, you're down the sideline. And again, no pass rush, and I think a lot of that has to do with the fatigue factor now in the 4th quarter. 3-step drop, get rid of it, quick, boom, no pass rush, nothing, and then McDuffie does his thing. He breaks a tackle, and he's down the sideline. You have to make that tackle if you're Ray Jackson.
When you're in a pass rush situation like that last time, and you see 3 or 4 guys all lumped together, that's a sign of fatigue. They're just getting mushed in there.
1st and goal. Swinging to the outside, Abdul-Jabbar, and before he can turn it back, John Holisick says stop right here. Loss of 3, 2nd down and goal.
Well, Holisick's been saying that all year. He's their leading tackler. And keep in mind, this is a football team that's had to adjust because of Chris Spielman retiring for the 1998 season to be home with his wife and help her through an illness. And this linebacking core has had to be revamped. And of course,
Darryl Talley, speaking of the
recognize that guy, old number 56.
For years and years, he slimmed down since his playing days. 2nd and goal now from the 10. Marino throws, caught at the 5 by McDuffie, and he gets tackled immediately by Ken Irvin.
You know, that brings up an interesting point, seeing Darryl Talley standing there on the sideline. How about the San Francisco 49ers signing Charles Haley?
But they were going to work him out anyway. Did they make that? Is that official?
I believe they've made the decision.
It is now, I guess.
If they didn't, maybe I don't know. You can't believe everything you read, can you, Al?
Let's put it this way. There's been talk that the 49ers are going to sign Charles Haley and play him against Green Bay. Now, can that? What
stranger things.
Many little plays on words we have.
3rd down and goal from the 5-yard line. Marino throws, and it's dropped by McDuffie. So McDuffie.
Well, that's a tough catch.
Well, that's a tough. If he throws it out in front of him about waist high, he could score with that.
That's a bad throw from Dan. He got that thing just a little low and away.
You can see right here, McDuffie just running outside, running away from number 27, Ken Irvin. It was just a poorly thrown football.
Now Olindo Mate, who has made 2 of 3. He missed that 26-yarder at the end of the half that hit the right upright. This one is a 23-yarder. Klaus Wilmsmeyer to put it down. And this time it's good. And Miami retakes the lead with 9:45 left in regulation. Miami 17, Buffalo 14.
Ever has been more identifiable with his sport than KJ.
Absolutely. Mate kicks off into the end zone and is down there by Kevin Williams.
You know, it was big time when you were in college and KJ came walking through the door.
You betcha.
I was there.
He filled that door too, didn't he?
Dan was the original Big Ugly.
Oh, thanks.
In here, a lot of great dramatic plays, strategy. It's had it all so far today.
Well, Buffalo goes on a scoring drive. Miami counters with one of their own. Both teams trying to take the lead and assert themselves here in the fourth quarter.
From the 20 on first down, Flutie. Flush. Little dump off and getting a hand on it. That's Kenny Mixon, second down.
That thing just slipped out of his hand.
You have to be careful. He's running to his right and trying to throw it against the grain. Really a dangerous play, something that Doug Flutie has not been doing this year. And, you know, they got him back in the shotgun, and this is where he belongs because, like I said, he can survey the field and he can make plays, but he's got to be careful trying to do things like this. Don't force the issue.
Didn't have a whole lot on it as he just tried to float it back across the middle, and then Mixon gets it. Man,
you know, you
risky business.
You really have to be careful.
Second and 10 from the 20-yard line. Thomas. Stopped at the 21. Well, gents, whoever wins this game continues on. It's the toughest way, of course, to get to the Super Bowl, but Denver did it last year. They had to play the 3 games, a la Miami, 1 at home, and most likely 2 on the road.
Yeah, I'll tell you right now, the New York Jets are playing very well. Denver got back on track against Seattle. I mean, 2 places that are going to be awfully difficult to win in for opposing teams.
Well, we know that games are being played here in Miami and in Jacksonville in the AFC. It's going to be a little colder next week.
Yes.
The balmy temperatures are gone.
Third down and 9 from the 21. And Flutie throws, and it's caught. Andre Reed, and Jerry Wilson with the coverage that time bumps him out of bounds. And Jimmy's look tells you all you need to know.
You know, and this is where the maturity of a Doug Flutie in a situation like this really comes through. Again, the blitz is coming. You can see him coming off the end. He throws the ball before Andre Reed even turns his head. And he knows where Andre's going to be, and he has enough confidence in letting the ball go before he sees the receiver's eyes.
And a good job again of Buffalo staying away from the coverage by Buckley and Madison and working on the guys that are locked up underneath. And again, Jerry Wilson.
First and 10 from the 38. That's caught by Reed on a slant. Andre loses the ball at the 44-yard line. It's taken away. Buckley comes up with a fumble, looks to lateral it, and gets crunched by Thomas.
What a hit by Thurman Thomas. Andre Reed was over there pleading his case to the official that I was down by contact. And needless to say, didn't get the call.
I mean, you really have to hand it to the defensive players of the Miami Dolphins. I mean, they give up plays. Buckley gives up a play right here. And Andre Reed, as to his accustoming, he is running the ball extremely well, but then gets the ball pulled out.
Well, actually, Jerry Wilson, who got burned the play before, was the guy that tore the ball away from Andre Reed.
But they're saying he was down, it looks like, almost. But at least that's what Buffalo is trying to plead their case, that he was down.
It is the 4th Buffalo turnover. Look at it again. That's Walker hitting Reed.
Nope. Close.
Very
Really
close. The ball was on the very verge of being stripped out of there. You're right.
Either way, I couldn't argue.
From the 50-yard line on first down. And Abdul-Jabbar to the 48. Now is exactly when Miami would love to be able to run the ball and take as much time off the clock as they can with 7:48 to go in regulation. The last overtime game in postseason play was following the '93 season. Pittsburgh and Kansas City. Joe Montana in his first year at KC. Since then, 53 postseason games without an overtime. Meanwhile, we'll talk about this one.
The question begs to be asked, if replay was in use, was that conclusive evidence to overturn it? Absolutely not.
On 2nd and 8, this is McDuffie setting up a 3rd and 4. All season long in that 16 games, Buffalo had only 1 fumble following a reception. Today they've had 2.
And they only lost 6 fumbles the entire year. That's an extremely low number. That is safeguarding and protecting the football. But today it has Mr. Wilson has not been kind to the Buffalo Bills. And I don't mean Ralph.
Right. 3rd down and 4. Showing blitz. Here they come. They pick it up, but the pass is very low and incomplete. Gadsden looks around for a flag. The flag comes in at the very end. Donovan Greer with the coverage.
Looks like they're going to call some sort of holding against Donovan Greer. You know, maybe it was holding, but I think the problem that the Buffalo Bills coaches and sideline has is that it's happening so late.
Yes.
And it's happening from a guy that is 20 yards downfield.
Holding. Defense, number 25. 5 yards. Automatic.
Well, the play started at 3 o'clock and the flag came in at 3:07.
Well, you know, that is the frustration that players and coaches and everybody on the sideline has.
And the official who's closest to the play doesn't make a call.
He calls it incomplete is what he does.
And then the flag comes in from behind much later.
It's a hard thing to swallow if you are a Buffalo Bill on that sideline watching that play.
1st down from the 39. Abdul-Jabbar, gain of 2. Stopped by Washington. Kippy Brown, the offensive coordinator, took over for Gary Stevens this year.
Kippy was the running backs coach for the Dolphins for several years prior to being elevated to the coordinator's job. Very popular figure here with the Dolphins. And he calls it the way Jimmy likes it. Run, 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 unless they really need Dan Marino to win a game for him.
On 2nd and 9, Marino throws. That is caught by Thomas, and Greer takes him down by the left ankle. About 4 yards shy of the first. Make it 3.
Well, that was a late throw by Dan Marino out in the flat like that. He's checking one side and then throwing the ball back late like this. A very dangerous play. If Greer was on his game and was aware of where the ball was, he had a chance to make an interception and go the other way with it. Close to a late hit by Joe Cummings, number 51.
And Jimmy's going to take a timeout. Buffalo made its defensive switches. He's got a key 3rd and 3 coming up here. Afford them the opportunity to take a considerable bit of time off the clock as well as they move into scoring position. 3rd down and 3 at the 32-yard line.
Now, the interesting thing here is Miami is actually going with 2 tight ends and 2 running backs and a wide receiver as opposed to their nickel offense.
And you saw Buffalo counter by running in Ted Washington in their primary run defense.
I would think this is going to be a run to the right here.
First time we've seen this formation, and this is Abdul-Jabbar swinging it to the outside, inside the 20, out of bounds. Huge first down off an O.J. McDuffie block.
And fundamentally sound. Did you see Jabbar switch hands with the football? Had it in his left hand, broke into the clear, and had the savvy to go ahead and switch it over to his right hand. I love to see fundamentally sound football like that.
The only thing that I would have liked to have seen is have him stay in bounds. Even though the clock restarts when they place the football, they probably lost 10 seconds right here. But again, give credit to Larry Bechtel, the offensive line coach for the Miami Dolphins. He is the architect of the running game. He is the guy that's going to say this is where we can run and this is where we can't run.
Now they give the ball to Parmalee.
You can't run there.
Must have like blue shirts. There's Abdul-Jabbar, who's carried 27 times today for 95 yards. Most by a Miami player since Larry Zonka did it in the 73 playoffs.
Take into account he's done it against the 5th best rushing defense in football, and they're missing a few players out of that lineup, and certainly Miami has taken advantage. The fact that Phil Hansen's not out there, Sam Cowart's not there, and their secondary has been depleted by injuries.
2nd and 11 from the 15-yard line. Marino throws. McDuffie makes the catch, and he gets rolled down shy of the first down. Making the play was Donovan Greer, who cramps up again. Last week dehydrated in the game at New Orleans, and thus his play has been limited today and cramping again.
Usually when they sit like that, maybe the wind gets blown out of you a little bit.
Now it's 11 against 11.
And look at that 3rd down conversion rate. Terrific by the Miami Dolphins this afternoon.
3rd down and 3. Huge play. Ball at the 7-yard line. Marino out of the shotgun. Spreading them out. Action up front. Who moved?
Might have been a false start.
Yeah, the offense moved here.
Before the snap, false start. Offense, number 74. 5 yards, 3rd down.
Brent Smith.
Really smart play by Dan Marino, trying to draw the defense off of the Buffalo Bills here, figuring that he can squeeze out or steal a 1st down, but offensive linemen have to hold their water in there. Watch him jump here on the left a little bit. The left guard right there, number 74. Oh, what a big mistake.
3rd down and 8. They have to get to the 4 for a 1st down. Marino surveys, guns it. Thomas caught it. Touchdown.
And Brent Smith right now is going, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Maybe that penalty gave him a little bit more room down here. There's Jimmy saying, oh, way to go. We like to throw the ball down here in Miami.
Inside the 10-yard line. Not very often you see teams go to 5 receiver formations and a shotgun set with nobody in there to protect the quarterback.
You know, and that 5 yards might have helped because they ran an inside slant pattern and the safety wasn't able to get over there.
Mate converts. So Andre Reed made the reception, then the fumble, and Miami is able to cash in. The Bills doing themselves in. 4 turnovers in the game, and the Dolphins with 3:42 left up by 10.
Again, outstanding work up front by the Miami offensive line. Nobody anywhere close to Dan Marino. He had a chance to look at everything. Just look at it up front. Buffalo not getting off the line of scrimmage, and there's a laser dart right to Lamar Thomas.
You want to talk about an accurate throw right here. And really, Eric Smedley is right there. He's got to make a play on it or try to knock it down. But what a terrific throw and catch by Lamar Thomas.
Well, if Miami holds on to this lead and wins this ball game, if I was in charge of giving out game balls, I'd hand one to every one of those 5 guys up front. This was a couple of weeks ago on Monday night. Lamar Thomas had the night of his life with not 1, not 2. Although that was a good one.
This was the better one.
But this was the better one. 3 touchdown catches. 3 of Marino's 4 on the night. And like Jimmy told us yesterday, Dan, these 2 guys right here, 2 young kids, have come on, and Dan believes in them enough now to go to Gadsden and Thomas.
And he'll make the difficult throw, and he'll give them an opportunity to make a play. As early in the year, he wouldn't do that.
If Dan Marino doesn't think you're going to deliver, you ain't going to see it.
That's exactly right. And, you know, hey, that's the same with every quarterback around the league. And they want to know that when you throw the football that you have guys that are going to make plays for you.
Who do you throw to if you don't have anybody to make plays?
You hand it off, or you throw it out into the flat, and you hit running backs and tight ends, and you don't have big plays.
It happens.
It happens.
Olindo Mate sends it to the 7-yard line. Kevin Williams. And with the crowd roaring, Renee Stewart takes them out of bounds at the 20. A reminder coming up following this one, the second half of our NFL boys.
Well, here he comes, and see if he has any miracles left in him. Right now, it will be in the 2-minute drill from the rest of the way going. They have to conserve as much time as they can and move the ball as quickly as possible.
Jimmy Johnson doesn't want to see any more miracles. Remember, Jimmy was the coach at the University of Miami when Flutie threw that pass in the Orange Bowl in '84. But they need 2 scores here, down by 10. Flag. And the question was there a play? The flag came in early.
I think Donovan Greer might have been offsides. He was blitzing from the backside.
And unless it is against Miami, it's going to be a Miami recovery.
That was Jerry Wilson that came on the blitz.
Was that who it was? I think he was offsides. Well, I'm looking at the wrong guy. Thank you, Biggs.
That's all right. That's all right.
Let's get the call here.
Flip that card.
The ball was fumbled and recovered by Miami. However, offsides on the defense, number 24, 5 yards.
Oh, Mike Carey keeping everybody in suspense.
Yep. Yes.
The ball was fumbled and recovered by Miami. However,
he had to flip his card.
What's really shocking about this is that Doug Flutie never even sees it coming, and he should have seen it because the safety to that side was down ready to cover up the receiver who Wilson was coming off of. And you can see he's saying right there, you know what? That's me. That's me. He caught a break, so maybe there is some magic left.
1st and 5 now from the 26. 3:25 left in regulation. Balloons go floating by. Blitz again by Wilson. Moulds makes the catch, taken down up at the 31-yard line.
I'll tell you, they're not going to let him sit back there. They're going to make him make decisions right now. And, you know, I applaud the defense for the Miami Dolphins in doing that. Don't sit back. Go after him. But if you go after him, you better get him. Don't let him run around.
You're not advocating the prevent defense.
No way, man. No way.
Buffalo moving around. Remember, you saw Joe Pendry making the call. With a communication into Flutie's helmet. Doug on 1st and 10. Over the middle, and that's incomplete, intended for Kevin Williams.
And for the 3rd consecutive time, Jerry Wilson came on the corner blitz.
And what they're doing, Dan, is they're running what they call fire zones. They're bringing defensive backs to one side and dropping off defensive linemen to the other side. So it's not an all-out blitz. They're not exposing anybody to big plays. They're playing good, sound, solid defense, but they're forcing Thurman Thomas to stay in the backfield and pick up that blitz. Look at number 34 right there.
And the guy who drops back right there,
Trace Armstrong makes the play.
No, that's actually Shane Burton, who almost got his hand on the ball.
2nd and 10. Flutie for Moulds, and Moulds got free, makes a juggling catch and gets taken down to the 36. He got inside Buckley.
Now that time they did blitz and expose Buckley.
And they didn't get there.
No, they didn't get there.
Buffalo has all of its timeouts and the 2-minute warning, so they have 4 stoppages. 31-yard gain. 1st down to the 37. Flutie throws against the grain and just has to throw it away. Reed was covered. 2:06 remaining. 2nd and 10.
But importantly for Miami, that burned off a lot of time, and we've got a flag on the far side of the field about the 27-yard line.
Against the Dolphins. Completely away from the play.
Well, the quarterback was still in the pocket. Illegal contact. Defense, number 31, 5 yards. Automatic. 1st down.
You got to like Mike Carey. You know, he gives it to you, and he uses the mic and helps explain what's going on.
Because Jimmy was arguing that he was out of the pocket.
Right.
And that was a very effective use of that microphone by Mike Carey. That's the way a referee should explain it to the crowd and to the TV audience.
Mike's got a future in the booth.
That was a good job.
1st and 10 at the 32.
Who does it?
Flutie Going deep and Moles with a great acting job, if nothing else, putting his arms up as if he was being impeded. Buckley with the coverage, and he did get the flag.
How many times have we seen this year? You just throw the ball up down the sideline and you come away with interference and they move the ball all the way down.
And this is going to be the 2-minute warning.
Wow.
After the call here.
Terrell Buckley's got his hands all over Moles.
Number 27, automatic. First
You're allowed to make contact within 5 yards, not 35 yards.
2-minute warning. Guys in the history of the league have picked up 200 or more yards receiving in a postseason game. Jerry Rice and Anthony Carter. Moles with 205. Christie hoping that he can kick a field goal and at some point an extra point. If he can do that.
Well, I think Joe Pendry would rather the extra point came first.
Yes.
Watch the middle of the field right here now.
3 timeouts for Buffalo. First down, goal at the 10. Flutie throws, caught by Reed. Andre spinning.
That
and
has to be a
stopped
touchdown.
just short of the goal line.
How could that not be a touchdown?
They stop him.
Oh,
And look at that. And he hits the field judge.
Holy mackerel.
How could that not be a touchdown?
Well,
Andre Reed bumps into Steve Zimmer, the field judge. Oh, this is a crushing penalty against Buffalo.
we'll take a look at the replay. Let's see if he gets in number 1.
Well, where was the football when he touches the ground?
I've seen that called the touchdown.
Well, touchdown or not,
it's a killer on 2 counts. It costs you time, and now the penalty is the real killer.
Unsportsmanlike conduct on the offense. Number 83, contacting an official.
I don't know, Dan. I'll tell you, I could see that being called a touchdown easily.
Second down.
oh, sure you could. Boomer, I'm not arguing that. Nobody's arguing that. You're right. That could have been ruled a touchdown.
You're not arguing that?
Well, it could. It's one of those inconclusive at that angle.
And Mike Carey now going over to talk to Wade Phillips.
So now does Andre.
And they ejected.
Yes.
They eject Andre Reed, so they lose a possible touchdown. They lose time off the clock, and they lose Andre Reed.
Ooh. Boy, that wasn't as much contact as it originally looked like.
No, he's just coming up is what it amounts to.
Well, I'd like to see that if we can, Kenny, one more time.
Yeah.
From initially, it looked like it was pretty severe contact between Reed.
Yeah, it's like the referee, the official is right above Reed.
Yeah, from that angle, you see it looks like Andre kind of moves into the official.
Whoa. In any event, instead of what might have been a touchdown, or at worst, 2nd and goal from the 1-inch line, it is 2nd and goal at the 15. They're without Andre Reed.
You know, what happens there is the official interprets that as an aggressive move by Andre Reed towards him, and there was contact.
An official is deemed to have taken place. Twin downs, 2nd down.
I will tell you this, that at least Steve Zimmer, the official, makes an immediate call and makes an aggressive call. I don't know if it's the right call, but certainly he felt like it was.
Sometimes you need patience. 2nd down and goal at the 15. Flutie, back of the end zone, too deep, 3rd down. Wade says, where's the flag?
So you keep in mind, Al, the frustration on the part of Andre Reed. Remember, he thought he was down before on the fumble, and then he doesn't get the call here in trying to get into the end zone.
I don't know. You know, to me, that's a touchdown right there.
It does look like a touchdown.
Yes, it does. Now, there's still no excuse for you to bump into an official. None whatsoever. I don't know of one.
No, I think we're all in agreement that it looked like he got into the end zone.
3rd and goal. Flutie fires and upended at the goal line was Jay Wiemersma. That's incomplete. 4th down. Zach Thomas with the coverage. Now the Bills will have to go for the field goal here and then try the onside kick. Now they're compelled to go for 3 before 7. So Christie will line it up. It'll be a 34-yard attempt.
Which is not going to be an easy kick with the wind the way it is down on the field.
Moore puts it down, and the kick is good. And with Andre Reed a spectator for the rest of the day, 33 yards officially for Christie, and 93 seconds left in the game.
And Andre Reed, a man who's posted Hall of Fame numbers during his receiving career, here in the fourth quarter, I'm sure right now thinking that he has been robbed on 2 different accounts by the official. Now that's what he's thinking. You just can't do that, though. You just can't do that. You can't get up and be an aggressive confronter of an official.
No, and the other thing that we don't know is what was said between the two. And we don't know how aggressively, because we're not there, we're not down on the sideline, the bump really was between the official and the player.
Well, the Buffalo Bills right now have just about had it with anybody in a striped shirt, because they were the team on the short end of the New England massacre on one hand and miracle on the other. No onside attempts for the Bills this season, but you're pretty much assured one's coming up right here.
Yeah, don't forget, you know, it's 6 minutes and 25 seconds to go in this game. There was a holding on Donovan Greer that was a late flag that was thrown in. I mean, so you compile all those things. The frustration must just be mounting enormously on the sideline of the Buffalo Bills.
But in Christie's NFL career, 14 times he has attempted an onside kick. Buffalo has recovered twice. That's 14%.
And there you see that during the course of the '98 season, 30% of the onside kicks are recovered by the kicking team.
Bruce DeHaven is the special teams coach. So Miami has 5 guys up at the 40. The ball has to go 10 yards. And then 4 guys backing them up.
They want this ball to go high in the air.
And by the way, that 30% for this year is higher than normal.
And that is juggled. It's a loose ball to 31. The Bills have it. Remember, the receiving team, Sam Madison, can come in. He doesn't have to wait for it to go 10 yards. But if you drop it, if you muff it, if you fumble it, then the other team has the opportunity. And that's exactly what happens to Buffalo.
Oh, are you kidding me or what?
Kurt Schultz.
Madison being really aggressive and attacking the football. But boy, when you mishandle it out there, you are all alone.
And I would bet you that Jimmy Johnson would tell those guys to do it just that way, to go after the football and be aggressive. Don't sit back and wait for something to happen.
Well, the Buffalo Bills have a ton of time. They have 90 seconds and 3 timeouts. Flutie's thrown for 305 yards. First down at the 31. Flutie to Moles. And Moles has a first down at the 33-yard line, pushed out by Brian Walker.
And Zach Thomas and Jerry Wilson going over it on the sideline. Who's got whom here?
They are not going to be able to stay with him inside. You know what's really amazing to me is that they don't move either Madison or Buckley inside over there. And just because of the way the Buffalo Bills are lining up offensively, they're getting the mismatch that they want. Or creating the mismatch, I should say.
And not only a mismatch, Boomer, I think their routes are creating some confusion right now in the Miami secondary.
First and 10 at the 39. Flutie. And he throws underneath, and that's incomplete. Jimmy Johnson must think every receiver's out on the field except Gerard Phelan right now.
Oh, well, no, he does not ever want to see Phelan again.
No.
You know, the interesting thing watching that last formation is you have Thurman Thomas split wide to the left and Sam Madison lined up against him. Now, they're not always playing man-to-man, they're playing zone, but when you release down the field vertically, those cornerbacks are locking up man-to-man in their zones. And right now, Sam Madison playing against Thurman Thomas is not really what you want. And now you have Terrell Buckley versus Thurman Thomas at the top of the screen.
It's suck-it-up time here now for the Miami defensive lineman. No pass rush last time.
2nd and 9. This time they come in again from the corner, and the pass is incomplete. Good coverage. Moles double-teamed on the play. 3rd down and 10. This wildcard playoff game is being brought to you by AT&T. It's all within your reach. New add.
You don't have any backs in the backfield. You can bring guys off the sides, and they can create pressure. And again, here they are with an empty backfield. The question is, will they bring Wilson again?
He's been the rusher du jour.
It doesn't look like they're going to do it this time.
3rd and 10. Wilson's in coverage. The pass is caught. A flag comes in. That's Camille Loud, and he's a rookie from Cal Poly San Luis Obispo, only in the game because Reed's out of the game.
This is going to be offensive pass interference, I think.
Well, if it is, Buffalo had called a timeout for the moment. They'll rescind that timeout.
Illegal hands to the face. On the defense, number 37 is declined. The play results in a first down.
First down at the 27-yard line. And now, if you're Buffalo, you don't have to take the timeout here, because what you want to do is, even if you can't convert it, you save your timeouts. Miami will get the ball back, but then you take your timeouts defensively, you can still get the ball back.
No, they're going to run a play and go with it. Right now, the Miami Dolphins are sorely missing Jason Taylor, their best pass rushing defensive end.
Flutie, 347 yards today. Marino, 235. First down at the 27-yard line.
And here comes the blitz on the backside.
And Flutie's going to run it on a quarterback draw to the 22-yard line. And now, does Buffalo take a timeout? They do.
Yes, absolutely.
2 remaining. Shane Burton made the tackle. Well, everybody, we've been talking about it. 1984, you go back 14 years. Miami was leading. Jimmy Johnson was the coach. 6 seconds left.
Look how young
Doug Flutie, and this was what won him the Heisman Trophy. There is Jimmy. Flutie flushed out of the pocket. Gerard Phelan in the end zone at the Orange Bowl, where tonight it'll be Florida against Syracuse. And that's what took place down the road in 1984.
And Jimmy Johnson telling a great story yesterday about how his defensive coordinator at the time wasn't even up in the booth, thinking that the game was already over, had already started down stairs, and nobody up there to make the calls defensively. That's that throw reminiscent of Cordell Stewart and Michael Westbrook for Colorado against the University of Michigan. Didn't think a guy could actually throw it that far.
The interesting dilemma here now is, do you continue to blitz? And I think they will.
2nd down and 5.
And here comes Wilson off the bottom
Wilson
again.
comes off the corner. Flutie throws, and that is incomplete. Intended for the rookie Loud.
Now, you can always tell when one of those inside guys are going to blitz off the slots, because the safeties get in behind them. And as a quarterback, you can see that, so you know Wilson's coming. That's one of the reasons I'm able to see that from up here, is that I could see the backup of the safety over Wilson behind him.
And now the play calling changes a little bit, that you've got your 2 downs now to pick up the first down. Doug Flutie taking off with the football, certainly an option here.
And it looks like they're going to do it again down here with Wilson.
3rd down and 5. And they go to Moles, and Moles is short of the first down at the 18-yard line. It's going to be 4th down. Moles along the way has established, and Buffalo's going to have to take a timeout, and they do. Moles has set the record, the all-time NFL record, most yards receiving in a postseason game. That's 239.
This kid can play some ball, I'll tell you. He needed
240.
Yes.
He's at 239. He needed 240.
No, not only does he possess the speed that is necessary, but his size and the ability to break tackles and make plays. You know, it's really something. He's come out of nowhere, really, to become this great receiver.
This is a closer measurement than it initially looked like.
So Buffalo did not have to take the timeout at the moment, because there's an official's timeout here for the measurement. And look at this. He got that extra yard.
Wow. He sure did.
Now he has 240.
So they're not going to use the timeout.
They won't. They huddle up right away, save those 2 timeouts.
Well, the reason Doug was signaling for the timeout is that he didn't think they had the first down.
Right. 1st and 10 at the 17. Wayne Huizenga, we had a smiling Wayne in our frame about 2 minutes ago. Now a concerned Wayne. Four-man rush. Caught. 12-yard line. That is Kevin Williams making the catch. Timeout Buffalo.
You know, they've ran this play 3 or 4 times now where they run the outside guy underneath with a slant, and to me it looks like they're trying to work the side, and we might see the inside guy going out and up again. Where Doug hit Eric Moulds last time for a touchdown, we could see that play coming again here. Is your heart pumping?
Oh, this is, well, it's playoff football. It's when everything you've worked for since the day the season ended last year, all the off-season conditioning, all of the time spent in meetings, all of the blood, sweat, and tears of a hot training camp. This is when it really pays off for somebody, and this is when it also breaks somebody's heart.
You look down here in the stands, there's nobody sitting down. I mean, they're all standing and trying to give their defense the support that they need right now.
And it's the most helpless feeling in the world when you're on the bench and can't participate in any way.
Marino agonizing.
A spectator just like the rest of us.
Second down 5 from the 12.
Eric Moulds one-on-one down here at the bottom.
Bills have 1 timeout remaining. Flutie, a little dump off. It is caught by Thurman Thomas, and the future Hall of Famer is out of bounds at the 9-yard line. 24 seconds remaining.
I think they had the matchup that they wanted. They had Eric Moulds down at the bottom of the screen one-on-one against Sam Madison, and he actually does get out on top, but you could see during the course of the play the safety and the inside linebackers all ran with him.
Jerry Wilson went with him. Brian Walker went with him. Madison was over there. If he gets it to Moulds for a touchdown, it's going to take a lot of work to do it.
Third down 2 from the 9.
Same situation again.
And Flutie's going to run it. And Flutie's going to get the first down, take his last timeout, 1st and goal at the 5. No timeouts left.
Well, they were signaling for a timeout when there was about 19 seconds left on the clock, and it ran down to 16. I'm assuming that Buffalo coaching staff is going to argue that we deserve a. Now they put it back to 17. Let's take a look at both the end of the play and the clock. Joe Pendry, Doug Flutie going to talk this over. All right, there's 24 seconds when this play gets started. There is Doug, and off to the side, several of his teammates.
Look at him going. Timeout was 19. 19 at worst, 18.
Yes, I would think 19 would be the right call.
And really what that signals to you is a player that is on top of his game, that has the understanding of what is happening on the field.
That's a great look at Doug's
really
arm.
Yeah.
Doug's arm coming out of that pile of trying to call a timeout.
Flutie flakes are brain food. I'm convinced of that right now.
I think so, huh?
Well, what did Jimmy Johnson tell us that he thought was Doug Flutie's best attribute? His decision making. He's not big, he's not the greatest passer, but his decision making is right on.
Well, he's going to have to make sure that he throws the football in the end zone right now. You do not want to throw it where you can get tackled in bounds.
He ran it into the end zone against Jacksonville to win a game earlier this year.
14 years later, Doug Flutie looks for another miracle in Miami. First down at the 5-yard line.
Get rid of it. Get rid of it.
Lost the ball. It's loose.
Trace Armstrong.
It's Miami's.
Trace Armstrong.
Armstrong dislodged it. Shane Burton recovered it, and the Dolphins season continues.
Al, Armstrong dislodged it, Burton recovered it, and Flutie held it too long.
You talked about decision making.
Yeah.
Down here, you need to know that you've got to get rid of the football. You cannot hold on to it. It's the 5th turnover for the Buffalo Bills today, and it was actually pretty good pass blocking. Thurman Thomas is trying to block Trace Armstrong, but you have to get rid of the football. You wonder if the interception down the other end was in the back of Doug Flutie's mind that he was going to try to force it in there, but Thurman Thomas on Trace Armstrong is not the situation you want to be in if you are the offense of the Buffalo Bills.
Armstrong led the Dolphins with sacks this year with 10.5, and that might be the biggest one of his career.
And a kneel down ends it, and the Miami Dolphins will be taking a trip next weekend. They'll be going to the Meadowlands or to Denver. And the Buffalo Bills end a season on a low note, but it was a season for the Bucs, for that man, and for that franchise in what figured to be a rebuilding year. The Buffalo Bills get to the playoffs and almost pull it off. Let's go to Leslie.
He still has his helmet on. It must feel pretty great to beat Buffalo in a playoff game.
Hey, Coach, take care. Thank you. Yeah, it feels good. It was a big win for us. We can move on now, and excited about it. Really am.
What was your priority against the Bills secondary?
Well, just to take care of the ball, not have turnovers, let our defense play, and if we could do that, we had a real good chance of winning.
Did you feel your offensive line, they kept your buddy Bruce
Yeah,
Smith
they did.
away
They did a good job. They did a good job all day, even with pass blocking and run blocking, and it was an exciting game for us. We'll move on from here.
Can you talk about the play of Doug Flutie?
Well, Doug, he's got a big heart. You know, he plays hard the whole time. He had a chance to tie that game up and give him all the credit in the world.
Keep your heart moving. Thank you, Danny. Back to you, Al.
Thank you, Leslie. If Jacksonville wins tomorrow against New England, then the Dolphins go to Denver. If New England wins that game, then Miami goes to the Meadowlands to face the Jets. But they're making a trip. The dream continues. Will it be Marino's year? They're not done yet. 24-17.